for some pupils. So that's why there will not be a huge crowd here. But it's not about quantity. It's not about doing a lecture for 10,000 people. It's about quality. It's about doing a seminar or a lecture for a group of pupils who value literature. And if you and I, if we share the same passion for literature, then this session will be successful regardless of the number of pupils who have taken part. Yes, this will be uploaded on YouTube also simultaneously. That's why there will be a few restrictions when I upload this onto YouTube, because I'm not simultaneously streaming this on YouTube, but I will be uploading this on YouTube. So there will be a few restrictions. I will not be able to show you some videos. I will not be able to show you some images, but that's it. Other than that, we are going to have a electrifying, successful session. You might have seen that on the website, I have not uploaded the tune. Okay, I worked really hard on the tune, but there's something wrong with my PDF software. There's something wrong with my PDF software, and I can't watermark the tune. Because I'm unable to watermark the tune. I have not uploaded it. But in the end of the session, I will give you my WhatsApp number, and you can contact me through WhatsApp. I reply then and there itself. Okay, I don't have a separate time for replying to messages. I will reply then and there itself, so you can have. You can inquire anything you need from me regarding the tunes, regarding not only this tune, regarding many tunes, and also you can inquire anything you need from me about literature. Okay, I'm very exactly. I use Adobe Acrobat, and Acrobat DC actually it doesn't work. It's not working at the moment. That is why I was not able to upload the tune, but I will be sharing the screen. Okay, so you can take a look at the tune through the screen, and you are going to be blown away. Not even once in Sri Lanka. Okay, not even once in Sri Lanka has there been a seminar like this for Wave. Okay, I do not believe that. Not even once in Sri Lanka has there been a seminar like this about Wave by Sonali Deraniyagala. So if for some reason I upload this on YouTube, she sees it, that would be amazing, right? But that the chance of that happening is very slim. But because this is going on, no, I mean, there has been seminars, dude. Come on, there have been seminars. But I mean, there has not been a seminar by Javed, the king of literature, Osan, man. Okay, there has not been a seminar by Javed, the king of literature, Osan. You might think I'm cocky now. You might think, okay, he thinks he knows everything. But Nada Faizullah, you got such a Nada, the name, I know that name. I mean, I don't know whether it's you, but I've heard that name before in my classes. If you take a look at my seminar, if you take a look at the tunes, if you take a look at the session, and you can compare my seminar with the others, and if you think it's good, go ahead. I would really appreciate your feedback regarding the session that I have scheduled for you today, right? So people call me the king of literature, sultan of literature. Some people, I remember there was a student who named me the drama king. A student named me the drama king. To this day, that name has stuck with me. So people call me the drama king. But all in good fun. Okay, all in good fun. I do not think that I'm a king. Okay, obviously not. I'm a very humble person. But when it comes to literature, I'm so passionate that I deem myself to be the king of literature. Right, that's fine. That's fine. Let's go towards the session today. That's why you are here. That is why you are here. The specialty of today's lesson is it's illustrated. The specialty of today's lesson is that it is illustrated, in the sense you can find pictures regarding the text. Okay, not anywhere else in Sri Lanka, I believe, have they supplemented illustrations for a seminar regarding Wave. Okay, not even anywhere in Sri Lanka can you find a illustrated seminar for Wave. And those of you who are using the chats, I appreciate it. I appreciate your effort. I appreciate your communication. The reason I don't allow you to unmute your mic is because it's a seminar and there might be some disturbance. However, you can use the chat. Right. Sometimes I might be lagging though. For some reason, I might be lagging. In that case, please let me know. Okay. Please let me know if I'm lagging. Then it would be much of help. If you can confirm whether you can hear me. Can all of you hear me clearly? Hands up if you can hear me clearly. Yes, all of you can hear me, right? Right, all of you can hear me clearly. That's amazing. That's awesome. So without taking any more time, yeah, one more favor. If you think the session is important, now this is a 3-hour long session. If you think you are learning something in this session, if you think it's positive to you, if you like the session, you can share. Let me share the message. By the way, you can share this link. Okay, you can share this invitation with any one of your friends. You can share this invitation that I have sent to all of you in the meeting. Everyone in the meeting. Like this, right? You can share this invitation with all of your friends who you think will benefit from this seminar. Like I said, I work really hard on tutorials and really hard on presentations, really hard on the content. Again, if you need the tunes after the seminar, you can always contact me through WhatsApp. I will provide you my WhatsApp number in the end. That's fine. That's all, I guess. All of the settings are as per my requirements, and now we can start with the session. Okay. So again, very passionate about this session, worked really hard to prepare the material. So we can continue, and I hope you will enjoy it. And like I said, 2 favors I need to ask from you. One, obviously, try to absorb as much as information as you can, like a sponge, okay? Absorb as much as information as you can, like a sponge. And for some reason, if you think that someone else will benefit from this seminar, this free seminar, which is 3 hours long, you can go ahead and share the link I have provided. Yeah, some people have already uploaded the link on their status. They have shared it through WhatsApp to their friends, school friends. That's awesome. Would really appreciate that if you can. Then let's move forward. Then let's not take any more time. Right? Let's not take any more time. Let me share my screen. Okay, great. Now, when we are talking about The Wave by Sonali Deraniyagala, there is something that you have to, right? And for some reason, I think some of you have your mics on, right? If I'm not mistaken, yeah. Because once you enter, I believe your mic will not be muted. But once you mute your mic, that's it. You cannot unmute your mic, right? Exactly, like a sponge in the sense you have to absorb this content like a sponge. All right, great. Then we can begin Sonali Deraniyagala's Wave. However, you should understand that it's a prose. It falls under prose. Prose is another word for a type of a style of short stories. Okay. A style of short stories are known as prose, and obviously there are 4 prose in our syllabus. Okay, there are 4 prose in our syllabus, and we will be talking about all of them in my class actually, but today we are focusing on Sonali Deraniyagala's Wave. Right, there are parts that I will explain very clearly, but remember, a prose or a short story. And by the way, all short stories are not prose, but remember, a prose is a prominent type of a short story. It comes into play, or it comes into prominence in the late 19th century, in the sense when people start getting busy. Right after the Industrial Revolution, people did not have time to invest in books. Now, back in the day, there were 2 options. One, buy expensive books, or spend all of your time reading those expensive books. Now, people in that period, in the late 19th century, they were lost for time. They did not have time. And then they did not have the finances necessary to purchase lengthy books, okay? People were not that wealthy. So then short stories came into play. Now, can you imagine where people found short stories? Could you imagine? Can you guess where people publish their short stories? It's a very obvious place. Not in books, not in what's it called, magazines, but they published their short stories in newspapers. In the beginning, every single short story that you are reading or that you will read has once been published in a newspaper. So that is how people were exposed to literature. So short stories are to the point, short stories are direct, and that is why people love short stories. Now, if you were given the option to watch a lengthy movie, okay, a 3-hour, 2-hour long movie, or if you were given the option to watch a TikTok, okay, you all use TikTok, we all have TikTok. Even I watch TikTok. I don't use TikTok. I don't upload on TikTok actually. But if I was given the option, if I were given the option to watch a movie or watch a TikTok, I would choose a TikTok. It's a lot more shorter, right? The TikTok is a lot more shorter. It gives you something for as a return, right? You get entertainment, you get knowledge, you get something out of it. And you don't have to invest 2 or 3 hours into watching a movie, especially if you are a busy person. You have many tasks and chores to do. You will not benefit by watching a lengthy movie, right? So remember, opposing to novels or novella, they are far more shorter. Very obvious. They are called short stories, or prose are a type of short stories, and obviously they are quite short compared to a novel, and they focus only on one ideology. Right. So when you have a window, when you have a very small window, when you have a very short story, you can't provide all of the information in the world. You can't provide every single thing in the world inside that story, right? You can provide all of the lessons. You can provide all of the morals inside that story that only focuses on one ideology. A short story, and all of the 4 short stories in your syllabus, we will be talking about them. They focus only on one ideology. All right. And apart from that, do not confuse short stories, or do not confuse prose with folk tales and fairy tales and fables, because they are in a different league of their own. Usually, when it comes to a fairy tale, a folk tale, a fable, there is no author, there is no writer. There, you cannot say, now this person wrote Cinderella. You cannot say that this person wrote Red Riding Hood, because no, these have been in European culture. These have been in the word of mouth for centuries, or sometimes a millennia. Sometimes for 1,000 years, there have been some fairy tales. So you can't honestly call fairy tales, and you can't honestly say that folk tales and fables fall under the same category as prose. These are not that important, but just have an idea, have an understanding about them, because the more we progress forward, you need these basic ideas, you need this basic knowledge. Again, remember, I will be sending you that through WhatsApp in the end of the session. Nothing to worry. Right. And yes, fine. Like I was saying, apart from that, there is a theme. The theme of life is heavily emphasized. In every short story, you are taught about the theme of life. Whatever said and done, look at all 4 short stories in your syllabus. The theme of life is prominent. Don't confuse short stories with the poems. In poems, there are only there is only one theme per poem. Now, for example, society, conflict, nature. Nature poems are The Eagle to the Evening Star. Those are nature poems. We have conflict, Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree, so on and so forth. So now you understand that, obviously, when it comes, yeah, right, I believe I'm lagging. When it lags, now this is, I won't name the router because this is going on YouTube, but when it lags, I lift this up like this, right? So then God will help me with the signal. How about now? It's not lagging. Okay, cool. Sometimes, yeah, but it's all right. If it's lagging for some reason on your side, on my side, let me know. Then I can provide a much more quality session. So your input is very important, and I appreciate your input. Whatever said and done, I appreciate your input a lot. Right. So now, as I was saying, my friend, if you understand these parts, okay, remember that these are like bullets, okay, and you are like the gun. Okay, the bullet and gun example is what I want to use here. Okay, now you might be thinking, so what's the bullet and gun example? Imagine that there's a bullet, okay, and you have that bullet on a table. What can you do with that bullet? You have a bullet, you have that bullet on the table. What can you do? You can't sit on it, right? You don't want to sit on a bullet. What can you do with it? If someone is about to attack you, can you throw the bullet? Can you be like, Inda? Can you throw the bullet at them? I hit myself with my own hand. Can you throw the bullet at them? No, not right, not really. Nothing is going to happen. But if you implement that bullet inside a gun, now there you have a weapon. So do you understand? The bullet is only valuable if the bullet is inside a gun. Knowledge is only valuable if the knowledge is inside your head. So this presentation, the printouts, the PDFs, the PPTs are worthless if the knowledge is not in your head. So try to absorb these ideas. These are very easy. These are not that hard. These are so simple to remember. So make sure that you absorb them right now. All right, so these are the 4 prescribed prose. We have The Lumber Room by Saki, The Lahore Attack, Kumar Sangakkara, Nightingale and the Rose, Oscar Wilde, and finally we have Wave by Sonali Deraniyagala. I believe the easiest prose out of these 4 is The Wave, right? I believe Wave is the easiest prose out of these four, but people think wave is harder than it really is. Because, one moment, apologies. Because honestly, there is a lot more complex idea inside wave. Okay, the idea is not that simple, but the prose is not that hard. Okay, that might sound contradicting. Some people think, okay, so it's very hard to understand the meaning, the idea behind wave. It's very hard to write an analysis. That's the real idea. Some people think it's really hard to write an analysis regarding the wave, but not really. If you understand the story clearly, if you have your tools with you, if you have the knowledge and the vocabulary, you can write a clear analysis. And in this session, we are going to talk about how to write an analysis also. In this session, we will also talk about how to write an analysis also, which will be amazing. Right, right. Apart from that, there are some jargon, not jargon. Jargon is the name of a character in the Vendor of Sweets, the protagonist's name. Jargon. Jargon is the hard words, okay? The hard words or the technical words that you need to know. Okay. Yeah, don't worry, Kavindu. I will be sending all of the documents. I have not yet made the PDF. So in the end of this session, I will give you my number and you can contact me. You can get the PDFs. Not only this, I will be sending you a lot of PDFs, watermarked, obviously. The reason I have not uploaded this is that I was not able to watermark this. So I have to watermark my tunes, in the sense I work really hard on them and I have to put my name on them in every slide, which will ensure that no one will be using this for their benefit. I mean, students can use it for their benefit, but I don't want anyone else stealing my content. So that is why I was not able to upload this I'm not able to upload this through Zoom also, my friends, because I have not yet watermarked this. Like I said, there was a small error with my PDF software. Right, these are the words you got to learn in order to write an analysis. Okay, remember these words. Don't say people, say characters. Don't say place, say setting. Don't say story, say plot. Don't say fight, say conflicts. Don't say solution, say resolution. Don't say high point, say climax. Don't say words, say dialogue. Don't say main character, say protagonist. Don't say villain, say antagonists. If you can use these words in any of your analysis, that will supplement your answer, and that will obviously increase your marks, because these will fall under vocabulary, right? So these are technical terms that you need to know in order to write an analysis. We'll talk about these individually, don't worry. We shall talk about these individually, but before that, there is a formula. Don't worry, I will explain all of these, Rumana, all of the questions that you have asked. Now, for example, someone asked me, sir, who is the antagonist? Don't worry. What is antagonist? Not who is the antagonist. What is antagonist? Don't worry, I will explain all of them one by one. We have ample amount of time, my friends, so I want you to relax. Don't try to write these things down. There's no point of writing these things down. I will give you the tune. If you come to Colombo, I will be able to provide you with the printouts also. So these are printouts. One moment. Yeah, these are printouts I have readied for pupils who are hoping to visit today or tomorrow. For some reason, if you can come to Colombo, I can provide you with the printouts, right? I can provide you with the printouts. So nothing to worry. Don't write this stuff down. Don't take screenshots. It's not necessary. I want you to relax and I want you to enjoy the session, because education, especially when provided online, okay, when you provide education online, my friend, remember, it has to be entertaining. If education online, one moment, I'm having some network problem. Yeah, please give me a moment, my friends. Right, fine. As I was saying, my friends, remember, apologies, there was some network problem here. There is a formula for every short story, which is very easy for you to remember. Now, you obviously know that time will only move forward. Time will never go backwards. Okay, in any situation, time cannot go backwards. Even in most of the short stories, in most of the said even novels, this is the formula that you need to follow in order to understand the story, right? So the reason that you watch whatever, like TV series, movies. Now, hands up if you watch TV series. Now, for example, I remember Game of Thrones. I remember what else? I remember, WandaVision, right? That's quite new. Hands up if you watch TV series, anything. Vampire Diaries, Lucifer. If you watch them, yeah, cool. A lot of you watch TV series, right? If you watch cartoons, now, for example, Motu Patlu, Chota Beam, if you watch cartoons like that, in every single content, in every single episode that you consume, you understand that there should be some kind of a conflict, right? The word is conflict. What is conflict? Conflict is a fight, okay? Some kind of a problem, a conflict. The reason that we watch or that we read, that we consume literature is that we crave a conflict. Imagine a person with no conflict. He wakes up in the morning, brushes his teeth, goes to work, comes home and sleep. There is no conflict, right? You would not want to watch that content. You would not want to watch that movie or video. A person waking up in the morning, going like washing himself and brushing his teeth and going to work, coming home, sleeping is not a story that has conflict. So remember, conflict is a very important thing, especially when it comes to literature, because obviously it's a problem. A prevailing problem is conflict. So the more forward you move in time, the more the conflict will increase. Okay, the more forward you move in time. Now, for example, there is a drama. Imagine there's a drama and you move forward 1 hour, the conflict will increase a bit. You move forward 4 hours, the conflict will increase drastically. So the more you move forward, more the conflict will increase. Okay, remember this word conflict is a word that you can use in your analysis. You can use it instead of problem. Okay, you can use it instead of problem. Right, one moment. Let me disable annotation. I don't think when people draw on the screen, I don't think they're trying to disturb. They're actually trying to get a screenshot. But that's all right. You don't have to take screenshots. Like I said, you can always get the tunes from me through WhatsApp. But not only Wave, you can get all of the tunes, almost all of them, regarding your syllabus. So you have that opportunity also. So we will see after the seminar. I will give you my contact numbers, contact details, and you will be able to get all of the tunes. So you don't have to take screenshots in every single slide. Right. A climax is the high point, right? The climax is the high point when there are so much conflict, when conflict stacks over conflict, okay? When conflict stacks over conflict, and then there cannot be any more conflict added. Now, for example, imagine you're climbing a mountain. Now, when you climb the mountain, it's really hard, right? You're tired and you're exhausted, and you get on top of the mountain. After that point, there is nowhere else to go up, right? You only go down. Okay, so when you climb up to the mountain, you realize, okay, there is absolutely no way to go higher than this. You can only go down, right? That is, yeah. And people have already shared my phone numbers on the chat. Thanks a lot. You can actually contact me. You can send me a message as soon as possible. You can mention the topic of the seminar. You can mention your school, your grade. You can start a conversation, and I reply to all of you. You can start a conversation on through WhatsApp, and we can see what you need, how I can help you in the future regarding literature. Like, not help in the sense, not anything else. Okay, how can I help you regarding literature? Don't like text me and ask me, sir, how do you make biryani, sir? Sir, how do you fight depression, sir? Don't ask me questions like that. Just ask me questions regarding literature, and I will be happy to help you out. So, right, once you are with the climax, once you are on the high point, right, then there is nowhere to go but down. There is a falling of action. Falling of action is when the climax comes to an end, okay? Falling of action is the process that it takes for the climax to come to an end. All right. So, like I said, my friends, remember, there is, in the end, there is something called a resolution. Resolution is the end of the story, the end of the climax. It's called resolution. When all of the problems come to zero, the problems will not be solved, okay? Most of the times, the problem will not be solved, but the problem will come to a zero, right? So after that point, there is no continuation of the problem. So that is called resolution. This is the exact formula you need to follow under your syllabus, okay? This is given under your syllabus. If you go under your teacher's guide, you will see that this is the exact formula to follow. And by the way, I might not look like a literature teacher. I might not look like a teacher, actually, but I am a teacher in a popular international school in Colombo 6. Okay, so I'm a literature teacher. I teach the senior section and the A levels there. In a popular school in Colombo 6. Those of you who attend my classes might know. I don't think I should mention the name of my school during a seminar, but those of you who attend my classes know what school I'm from, where I teach, and you know my background, where I come from. That's fine. Okay, we can quickly move forward. I don't want to take much time with this, right? Now, there are components in the sense what we are going to learn now out of those things I mentioned previously, right? So let me take you back to that slide. Let me take you back to that slide. Right, and thank you so much for your kind comments in the comment box. Really appreciate it, my friends. Right. Someone asked me, what is antagonist? Now remember, the protagonist is the main character, okay? Protagonist is the main character, okay? And then we have antagonist, right? By the way, antagonist is the opposing character. Is like they are the villains, okay? The antagonist is the villain. So like I said, protagonist is the main character. You might see a protagonist. Now, for example, in Wave, Sonali Deraniyagala is the protagonist. She's the narrator and she's also the protagonist. But if you look at The Twilight of a Crane by Junji Kinoshita, you might have done it, you might not have done it. If you look at The Twilight of a Crane, you understand that, yeah, exactly. Sodo and Unzu are the antagonists. They are the villains. They are the negative characters. So rather than using the words negative characters or villains, it will be a lot more easier if you can use the wording antagonist, right? So remember, that's a new word. Perhaps you might not have known about this word, antagonist, okay? That's fine, that's cool. So protagonist is the opposite. Protagonist is the main character, and then we have antagonist. All right. Now, these wordings we will be learning because you need to learn these essential, okay? You need to learn these components essentially. If not, it will be very hard for you to understand the story, okay? Now, by the way, you don't have to memorize these. You don't have to, spend hours and hours reading this over and over again. This is not rocket science. You can spend around 5 or 6 minutes in this session itself. You can spend around 5 or 6 minutes in this session itself to read these words, to memorize these words and memorize the meanings of these words, right? So like I said, the word plot, okay? The plot is another word you can use for a story. Remember, the plot is another word that you can use for a story, right? So some of you might not know this, those of you who are new to literature. So we will not say in the story, we will say in the plot. So we have 4 prose, we have 3 novels also. We'll talk about the novels in the end of this session. Like I said, the plot is another word that you can use instead of story. Okay, that's cool, that's very easy. The selection or arrangements of events in a story, obviously. The selection or arrangement of events is called a plot, right? So again, another word for story, but we don't use the word story because it's unprofessional. Rather, we would like to use the word plot. If you did not know this word, if this word was not in your vocabulary, please add this to your vocabulary from today onwards. Yeah. What happens in the plot? The characters are introduced. Now, do you see? Now, tell me, you can send me a message actually. Now, the person who is writing a short story, do they have unlimited amount of space? Do they have 1,000, 10,000 pages, a billion pages to write a story? No, they do not have. You're right, all of you are correct. Yabinaya, Rifaq, Muhammad, Fatima, Rumana. They do not have unlimited amount of pages. They don't have thousands and thousands of pages to write a story. They have a very limited amount of pages. 4 pages, 5 pages. That's all they have. So they cannot waste a single word. It's like real estate. It's like real estate. They are developing a piece of land. They are cultivating or developing a piece of land. So obviously in the plot, during the plot, all of the characters will be introduced to us in the beginning. Then there is initial conflict. Okay, in the beginning there is some kind of a conflict. When reading Wave, you will understand that there is a initial conflict, there is a beginning, there is a conflict in the Wave itself. Then there is the development of the action, slowly or and little by little. Gradually you see the action develops, the conflict develops, creates suspense and tension. Obviously when you read the Wave, remember these words, by the way, my friends: suspense and tension. Suspense, you don't know what's going to happen, right? You have no idea. You might have a hint, okay, you might have a hint, but you exactly don't know what's going to happen. You are on the edge of your seat, you're on the edge of your seat, you are in suspense. Okay, you have no idea what's going to happen next. And then there's tension. You feel uneasy, you feel tension, you feel like the crisis is happening to you. And now you might tell me, sir, I don't feel like that. Sir, you do. You don't realize it, but you do. Now, the best example, imagine you're watching a scary movie. By the way, if you can comment your scariest, your favorite scary movie, or the scariest movie that you have watched. I believe my scariest movie, I don't remember properly, right? Yeah, some people say Chucky, some people say Nun, but I think my scariest movie should be, yeah, The Conjuring, I believe. The Conjuring was quite scary. Yeah, some people say Annabella, IT, or It. Yeah, Conjuring indeed. Right. As I was saying, so now imagine you're watching a scary movie and you know that there is a screen between you and the characters, right? Obviously, no one is going to jump out of the screen, like the Ring movie. No one is going to jump out of the screen. You know that you are completely separated from the protagonist and the plot. But when watching a scary movie, whenever a ghost appears, you get scared. Like you get a, whenever there's a jump scare, you are afraid, right? You sometimes yell, sometimes you cry. I have seen people crying after watching a ghost movie. And after watching the movie also, when you are in the bathroom and whenever there's a sound or whenever there's a shadow, you can't easily do your business. After watching a scary movie, you are in the bathroom, you use the bathroom like this. What was that? You use the bathroom like that, right? Because you're afraid. Why is it? Because you have put yourself inside the literary plot. You have taken yourself inside the story. And even when reading Wave, okay, you feel like the incident is happening to you if you read it properly. If you read Wave properly, you feel like the incident is happening to you, right? So let's talk about that also. So remember, you feel uneasy, you feel tension when reading Wave. Okay, if you read it properly, you are not sure what is going to happen, even though you might have read the story before. When you are properly consuming the story, when you are properly absorbing, reading the story, you understand that, okay, the plot or the story is sucking me inside. It is taking me inside of the story. I am now a character inside the story. Okay, that is the proper method of consuming literature. We will talk about that. There's nothing to worry about that. Then we have the climax, the high point. The climax is known as the highest point, when there is so much conflict that there is no resolution, that there is no more space to add conflict in. Now imagine there's a cup, okay, and you add water inside the cup, right? And then you have added so much water that you can't add any more water. So when the conflict is saturated, okay, when the conflict is saturated, you understand that there is a climax. When the conflict is saturated, when there cannot be any more conflict, you call it the climax, right? As I was saying, now then we have the word setting to learn here. And yeah, there are some questions here. Don't worry, you'll get the answers to your question. Now, for example, tension and empathy, are they the same thing? Short answer, no. Tension and empathy are completely different. Tension is an emotion. Empathy is another emotion. We will talk about empathy in this. We have that word mentioned here. Don't worry. Right. Yes, you are. And there's another question. There's another question. Yeah, I can answer that also in a short while. All right. Apart from that, we have the setting. Setting is the background against which the incident of the story takes place, right? Setting is where the story happens, right? And setting is the time period, the atmosphere, the weather. All of those things fall under the setting. The setting. If it's very hard to remember those things, remember the setting is where the story takes place. That's the setting. Now, for example, I am in a setting now, right? This is where my story takes place. I am the protagonist of my story, and this is my setting. So equally, at home, you are the protagonist of your setting. I hope you understood that. Right. So, and remember, simple, when and where. That is another wording you can substitute by the word setting. You can use the word setting instead of when and where. Social conditions, in the sense, what is the era, what kind of a period was it. Now, if you read Prince and the Pauper, you know the social conditions are very different. If you read The Vendor of Sweets, you know the social conditions are very different. If you read Bringing Tony Home, you know the social conditions are very different. Equally, the Bear by Anton Chekhov, that's a drama, by the way. The social conditions are very different, right? They are landowning people, that they are class of, one moment, I'm lagging, I believe. Right. Give me a moment, please. Let me just hold on to this like this. Right. So then God will help me with the signal to my router. That is a thing. Those of you, for some reason, if someone out of Sri Lanka watches this is a normal thing in Sri Lanka. Even though we pay for our internet connection, it doesn't work. Sometimes there's lagging. I mean, we don't get the fastest internet connection, even though it's very expensive. All of you know that internet connections are very expensive, but we don't get the fastest internet connection. So there should be some kind of a modern solution to it. It's okay, I believe now, right? Fine. We have not yet begun the wave, okay? Don't worry. We will begin very soon. In just about 5 or 10 minutes, we'll be sinking our teeth into the savory situations of wave by Sonali Deraniyagala. So just a preview, okay? This is what we are going to do here. This is what we're going to learn in the wave, actually. So the entire story is illustrated in the sense you can understand the situations through pictures, right? That's a small taste. And like I said, no one else will provide, I have not seen anyone else provide a illustrations for a story, for a short story or a prose. Right, we can move forward. Right, so as I was saying, the background against all of the events taking place, right? When and where is another substitutable wording for setting. Then we have social conditions, and then we have the atmosphere and tone, right? The atmosphere, in the sense of the weather, the area where the story or the plot is taking place, right? Now imagine during a tsunami, were all of them happy? And don't worry, I'll be giving you a break, okay? Within another 45 minutes, I'll be giving you a break, right? So nothing to worry. Now, in the tsunami, were they very happy? Ah, there's a tsunami coming. Hey, that's a tsunami coming. Were they very happy and dancing around like Sonali, dancing around when the tsunami wave is coming her way? Was she dancing around the wave? No, not really, right? She was devastated. She was afraid. That is the atmosphere. Now, is there a good atmosphere, a positive atmosphere, or a negative atmosphere? A negative atmosphere, right? Your right half side builds tension. It builds many negative emotions. We will talk about them. So like I said, even the atmosphere falls under the setting. Okay, so another example. Now, have you read The Twilight of a Crane? Hands up if you have read The Twilight of a Crane. Right, only a few of you. Okay, right. I assume the others have not. You should join our class. You should join our class or seek my help. We will be doing The Twilight of the Crane also. By the way, people think it's very complex. The Twilight of a Crane, people think it's more complex. And thank you so much for your positive words, my friends. I can't mention your names, those of you who are contributing to the chat box. There is no time for me to mention your name separately. Right. So I understand a lot of you have not done The Twilight of a Crane. So now in The Twilight of a Crane, what's the setting? Are they in a very warm climate like now? Are they in a warm climate like Sri Lanka? No, they are in a very cold, devastating climate, right? A very depressing climate, a very depressing atmosphere. They are surrounded by snow. A person can die if they get stranded in the snow. The clothes they wear. Now, if they are because I'm in Sri Lanka, I can wear a t-shirt, right, like this, no problem at all. But imagine if we are for some reason we are in Europe, we are in Siberia, we are in Japan, somewhere in north of Japan. Could I dress like this? No, I'll be dressed in, like, an overcoat and very warm clothes. But because we are in Sri Lanka, if I wanted, I could not wear the t-shirt also. It will not make a difference. Not during the class. Okay, at home, I don't even need to wear the t-shirt, right? So the even the weather falls under the setting. So by reading The Twilight of a Crane, you understand, okay, they are in a snowy climate, they are in a cold climate, they are not able to they are not able to survive without the clothes, without the warm clothes that they are wearing. So there are so much things that you can imagine by reading a story. Okay, so again, let me tell you, the atmosphere falls under the setting. Even the weather will fall under the setting. Weather in the sense, the whether it's snowing, whether it's raining, whether it's hot, so on and so forth. Right, then characters. The people who are living on unliving things, okay, the living on unliving beings in the story, that seem to think and act. That's the most important part. They think and act. That means they are inside the story. They are not talked about, okay? They are not talked about, but they are, one moment, I'm lagging actually. Give me a moment, I'm lagging. Okay, not so fast. Okay. Right. Fine. How about now? Is it, can you clearly hear me now, my friends? Right. Am I lagging now, my friends? Can you please confirm if I'm lagging or not? Right. Someone says it's the blank video. I'm still lagging. Okay, one moment. Let me see. Okay. All right. That's horrible. That, like, everything in online classes are awesome except for the lagging part. That's what I really hate. Give me a moment. The video is still stuck, I believe. Okay. Right. If you can confirm whether you can hear me, I can continue with my session actually. Right. Apologies for that. I believe I was, yeah, it's okay now, right? So I believe there was some kind of a network problem here. That's fine. That's fine. We can move forward. I believe my video was stuck. Okay. One moment. It's clear now. That's awesome. Right. Thank you so much for your contribution, my friends. You are the reason that I know that that you can actually hear and you can actually understand what I'm saying. Right. It's completely fine now. That's awesome. That's amazing. Thank you so much again. Right. Who are characters? The beings inside a story that can contribute to the plot, that can act, right? They can act and they can think by themselves, right? No one needs to persuade them, no one needs to force them, not like animals, right? They are capable of thinking and acting by themselves, right? And they should be involved inside the story, they should be there inside the story. Just by mentioning someone's name will not make them a character. Now, the best example, hands up those of you who are doing the vendor of sweets. Hands up if you're doing the vendor of sweets. Okay. Some of you are doing. Okay, right. A lot of you are doing. By the way, there's something very special here. I actually do all three novels simultaneously. In my class, we do all three novels simultaneously. You can join whatever class you believe is sufficient for you. You can join the vendor of sweets. You can join Bringing Tony Home. You can join the Prince and the Pauper. If you want, you can join all three. There is no objection. So my belief, I'm the only teacher in Sri Lanka who does all three novels simultaneously and sufficiently. I mean, in a sustainable way. Not by just talking about the novel and forgetting about it. We read the novels, all three of them separately on separate times. Okay, we don't do all three together. We do them separately on separate times. So, right, vendor of sweets, we got someone. Now, you can put your hands down. Thank you so much for contributing. Now, in the vendor of sweets, okay, the name Mahatma Gandhi is mentioned, right? They mention the name of Mahatma Gandhi. But Gandhi is not a character, okay? Gandhi is not a character because he does not appear in the story. He does not contribute towards the plot. He does not talk. He does not act, okay? That is why Gandhi is not a character in the vendor of sweets. Even in the wave, you understand that there are a few name drops, there are a few mentioning of names, but there are no characters. They are not characters. So remember, in order for someone to be a character, okay, in order for someone to be a character in a story, you have to remember that that person, okay, or that living or non-living thing needs to think and act. Okay, now for example, in the Nightingale and the Rose, the oak tree is a character, right? The oak tree is a character. The rose tree is a character because they talk, they act, they can think, they are independent, and they are inside the story. They are visualized inside the story. Okay, they are not talked about, they are actually inside the story. So characters should be inside the story. Just by talking about a character doesn't mean that they are actually a character. Just because you talk about Gandhi in the vendor of sweets doesn't mean that Gandhi is really a character in the vendor of sweets. I hope you understood that. Right. By the way, there's a question: what is plot device? All right. A plot device is a kind of a object that is used to supplement the plot. Okay. It's not a character. It's an object, or it is a non-character that is used to supplement the plot. The best example. Now you can take the Nightingale and the Rose. There is a rose. Well done, Mohammed. There's the rose in the Nightingale and the Rose. My friends, the rose is a plot device, right? The rose is a plot device, even though it is not a character. The story revolves around the rose. The rose is an important part of the story. We can move forward. And by the way, can you please raise your hands up if you're doing the Prince and the Pauper? Raise your hands up if you do the Prince and the Pauper. Right, none of you. Okay, that's surprising. That's very surprising. Usually, usually I see a lot of people doing the Prince and the Pauper, but in this class, all right, one of you, okay, one of you is doing, a few of you, okay, obviously. I have seen Hadika in my class, right, a few of you do the Prince and the Pauper. Even Zenat Yasir does the Prince and the Pauper. Okay, cool, cool. You should. That's nice to know. Right. You can lower your hands down. Hands up if you're doing Bringing Tony Home. If you do Bringing Tony Home, raise your hands up. Right. A lot of you do Bringing Tony Home. Okay. A considerable amount of you do Bringing Tony Home. Yes. Then obviously you've got to realize that I teach all three of these books, and I teach them in a sustainable manner. I don't only discuss about them. We do every single thing. We have separate sessions for these books. We talk about every single thing in those books. So if you are considering to join a literature class, then most probably I am your best option. Just a suggestion, okay? Just a suggestion. Right, we can move forward. Then there is the theme, okay? The message that is conveyed by the story, and that is based on the story, right? The theme, in the sense, is the message that you can learn from the story, that the message that the story needs to deliver. So, in The Wave by Sonali Deraniyagala, there are many themes. We'll talk about them, but the theme of life is emphasized. Right? We are taught a life lesson when we learn Sonali Deraniyagala's Wave. And apart from that, there is an eternal truth or moral. Okay, there is an eternal truth or moral. And by the way, love is not a theme in our syllabus. Okay, sadly, love is not a theme in our syllabus. We have nature. Nature is almost synonymous with love, but love is not an independent theme in our syllabus. Right? Yeah, and by the way, eternal. Eternal means forever, forever, long lasting, eternal. So there is an eternal truth. There is a there's a truth that will not change. There is an unchangeable, there is a long lasting eternal truth, or morale is a lesson that you can learn inside the theme, right? And then there's the point of view that is very easy. Okay, there's a point of view which is very easy. There are first person narrations, and then there are third person narrations. First person narration, in the sense, the writer and the narrator, the person who is inside the story and the person who has written the story, are both the same people. In the sense, apologies, the narrator and the protagonist. Okay, remember, first person narration, in the sense, the narrator, okay, the narrator and the protagonist, they are the same person. Okay, in the first person narration. Now, for example, in The Wave by Sonali Deraniyagala, the narrator is Sonali Deraniyagala. The protagonist is also Sonali Deraniyagala. In The Lahore Attack by Kumar Sangakkara, the protagonist is Kumar Sangakkara. The narrator is also Kumar Sangakkara. That's why it's a first person narration. However, if you look at a third person narration, now, for example, like The Lumber Room, you understand the narrator is a different person and the protagonist is also a different person. If you look at if you look at The Nightingale and the Rose by Oscar Wilde, you understand that the narrator is a different person and the protagonist is a different person. That is why it's called a third person narrative. Okay, it's called a third person narrative or a third person narration. When the narrator and the protagonist are the same person, we call it a first person narration. Another good example will be The Vendor of Sweets by R.K. Narayan. That's a third person narration. If you look at The Prince and the Pauper, that is also a third person narration. If you look at Bringing Tony Home, that is a first person narration where the narrator and the protagonist are the exact same person. I see some of you raise your hands up. I will give you a chance to answer. Don't worry. Right, we can move forward then. Right. And by the way, there are some stories that you don't have antagonists in. Okay. Now, obviously, the protagonist is important, but you don't necessarily need an antagonist. Okay. Now, for example, in The Wave, we don't have a antagonist. We don't have a villain. We don't have a negative character. Right. In what else? If you look at, The Lahore Attack, there are no antagonists. Okay. Even though there are terrorists there, terrorists are not a prominent character. Like the terrorist in The Lahore Attack, or the terrorists in The Lahore Attack are not prominent characters. Okay, so there is no antagonist in The Lahore Attack. Even in The Vendor of Sweets, even though Mali might be playing the role of the antagonist, there is no proper antagonist in the Vendor of Sweets. Right, we can move forward then. Then we have tone and attitude. These are very important. Okay, tone and attitude are very important. Right. The reason that I believe that these are important is that these will be asked for context questions in your syllabus. These will be asked for context questions. What is the tone and what is the attitude? Okay. Now, when the writer decided to write the story, when the narrator is narrating the story, what is their emotion? Now, for example, look at Sonali Deraniyagala's Wave. Now, she lost her family. Now, during the wave, she actually lost her family. I am not able to show you the video. I am not able to show you the video regarding Wave because I'm going to upload this on YouTube, and this video is on YouTube. But I suggest that you should go on YouTube and watch the video regarding Sonali Deraniyagala losing her family. So when she talks about losing her family, even though how hard she tries to hide it, okay, she still feels the pain every single time she talks about her lost family. She feels the pain, even though how hard she tries to hide it. She's not like, ha ha ha, I lost my family, ha ha ha, my son and my sons and my husband died, ha 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 ha. She's not she's not happy that she lost her family. So the tone is sad, it's melancholy. The tone is melancholy, it's a sad tone. Her emotions, her attitude is sad. Okay. No, the tone is not a sound device. No, the tone is actually a literary device, actually a literary technique. Okay, the tone. Right. Sometimes the narrator and the writer might be different in first person. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yes, the narrator and you're right. Yes, exactly, Safwan. The narrator and the writer can be different people. Yes, but I did not say narrator and writer. Right. If you look at my example, I said narrator and protagonist. Narrator is the person who is talking. Protagonist is the person who is in the story. The writer is a completely different person. Sometimes all three can be the same person. Now, for example, the Lahore attack, narrator, writer, I'm not really a writer, but narrator, writer, and also the protagonist are the same person. Even Wave, the narrator, the writer, and the protagonist are the same person. Tissa Abesekara's Bringing Tony Home, the narrator, the writer, and the protagonist are the same person. Right? But remember, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be true, by the way. Right? Like I said, sometimes you can have a separate, a completely different writer and narrator. That is a normal thing that you see in literature. Now, the best example, Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree. The poet is a different person. The narrator is a different person. Okay, that doesn't mean that first person narratives, in the sense the narrator and the writer has to be the same person. No, but the narrator and the protagonist has to be the same person. I hope you understood that. Remember these words. That's why I told you it's very important to remember how these words work, how to use these words. Protagonist, narrator, writer, plot, tone, theme. Those are words you need to learn. Nothing to worry. You can learn all of them through this presentation. Right. Apart from that, my friend, it opens with suspense. Right. Wait one moment. We talked about the tone and attitude. Then we should talk about the mood, right? Now, you might be thinking, sir, what does mood mean? Right? Mood is the emotion we get. So when we read the story, we get an emotion, right? You read a sad story, the reader, you read a sad story, you feel sad, you feel empathetic, you feel emotional. Okay, that is your mood. So remember, although the tone and mood are different ideas, they must fall under the same branch. Okay, when the mood is sad, you should remember the tone is also sad. When the mood is melancholy, the tone is also melancholy. When the mood is happy, when the mood is upbeat, the tone is also upbeat. So remember, when you watch a sad movie, when you read a sad story, you also feel sad, right? Right. One moment. Right. Like I was saying, when you read a sad story, or when you watch a sad song, imagine you watch a boot song, you feel sad. You feel like you were the person who got booted. You were the person who went through a tough breakup. Whenever you watch a sad movie, you cry. You feel like it happened to you. Whenever you listen to a sad story, whenever you hear a sad story, you feel sad. Now, imagine someone telling a sad story and you laugh. Ha 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 ha. You laugh like you're crazy. It is not acceptable, right? When there's a sad situation happening, you don't laugh. You also feel sad. So remember, the tone and the mood must match each other. That brings us to the extract from Wave. The reading session, we don't have to refer to another independent document. We don't have to refer to an independent document. The entire story is found inside the presentation itself, right? So we will talk about all of the techniques, all of the necessary development of the plot. We will talk about the ideas we can extract for our analysis. Every single thing is found inside this presentation, right? However, I am ready to give you a 5-minute long break. Okay, I will only give you a 5 minutes long break. You can have a choo-choo break. You can have food if you want. You can have a drink of water. You can relax in the 5 minutes. It's up to you. The time is now 2:05. I shall see you at 2:10. And this is not only for you. The break is for me also, because I want to read this in a very passionate, a very heavy way. So I will give you a 5 minutes long break, and I will see you in exactly 5 minutes. And during the break, if you can invite your friends in, if you can invite, or if you can send the link to your friends, ask them to check this out, because now the seminar is about to begin. Really, we are going to dive into the wave. So if you can invite your friends, It'll be very helpful. Right, not 5 minutes, because a lot of you have asked me. I'll give you 10 minutes, okay? 2:15 I will see you. I will give you a 10 minutes long break. 2:15 I shall see you. Then right, do what you want to do. Help me out by inviting people in, and we shall have a productive reading session after this, man. I will, in the meantime, pause the mic and the video.
Aku belum.
All right, what's going on, everyone? We are back again. Right, now let me tell you, I hope you are there. I hope I'm audible. As I promised to you, 2:15, I'm here with a different tone, with a different idea, okay? With a different set of emotions. Now, when we talk about The Wave by Sonali Deraniyagala, there is nothing to laugh about. There's nothing fun about it. It is a very serious story. Now, the reason that the writer Sonali Deraniyagala had attempted to write this story is because she has attempted to bury her past between thin pages. I understand, and I know that you understand, that losing people is very tough. Hands up if you have lost someone. Hands up if you have lost a family member, someone close to you, like your grandfather, your grandmother. Hopefully, not your parents. Hopefully, not your parents. Someone close to you. If you have lost someone, please raise your hands up. Right. I understand. A lot of you, like a lot of you have lost a close family member. Okay. Understood, right? Very sorry for your loss. You can put your hands down, and now hands up if you have lost a best friend. Okay. For some reason, after a certain age, that friend did not want to be your friend. Okay. Raise your hands up if you have lost a best friend. For some reason, after a certain age, that friend did not want to be your friend. They rejected you. Right, a lot of you, right? That has happened to me also. Sadly, all friends are not good friends. There are, people out there who want advantages. So that has happened to me a lot. Okay, I have lost many best friends because they simply did not think that I was valuable enough. It has happened to me when I was in school. Even now, it doesn't happen to me now actually, but it happened to me a lot when I was in school, when I was a teenager. Right, hands up if you have had your heart broken, if someone you love reject you. Hands up if you had your heart broken, someone you loved. Okay, all of you are teenagers, we fall in love sometimes. So hands up if someone you fell in love with rejected you. All right. A few of you, okay. Sometimes your parents might be behind you, right? Your mom might be behind you, and your mom might have a broom in her hand, and if you raise your hand for some reason, she'll be like, no, I'll break your hand, okay? Like she might be having a broom in her hand, and like, you don't raise your hand, like something like that. Okay, cool, cool. So I mean, yeah, even I have had my heart broken. I've had my heart broken many times actually. So as I was saying, my friends, remember, in our life we come across many people. Okay, we come across many people, and some people, they leave us. Some people leave us on purpose. Some people say, okay, I don't want you, and they leave you. And then other people leave us because they have no choice, right? For example, sometimes death, sometimes circumstances, they have no choice and they leave you. So that idea is discussed heavily in Sonali Deraniyagala's Wave. Okay, now, I'm a person, now I might seem like the happiest person in the world. Okay, those of you who attend my class know, I might seem like the happiest person in the world, very energetic, very healthy. But at one point, when I was 20 years old, when I was, 20, 21 years old, I think 20, I attempted suicide. Okay, I attempted suicide when I was 20 years old. So I'm very lucky to be alive. I'm very lucky to be alive today. And I believe literature was a heavy reason, was a huge reason for me to change my ideas about life. So a person who wanted to kill himself is now a person who thinks that life is beautiful. I believe that whatever life you are given, you should be grateful that you have been given such a beautiful life. Doesn't matter how you look like, doesn't matter how people interact with you. If you are happy with yourself, then you will live a beautiful life. I have mentioned my story in the class. I will tell, some of you might not know. I will mention my story in the wave. Through the wave, the story will come out. And now you might have thought this is a fun session. This is like a frivolous session, a very party session. Not really. This is a very heavy emotional session. And I believe you have to communicate your emotions through literature. Okay, when you are writing an analysis, it's not like a third person point of view. You must think that you are inside the story. If you can take something out of your life, and if you can resonate that with the content, if you can take something out of your life and resonate that with the analysis, with the creation, then your analysis will be very successful. You will not be lost for words. Right, as I was saying, my friend, let's let's move forward then. Now, the story, first of all, we have to read the story, and then I will be happy to give you a proper explanation. So now we'll start with the reading session. So very excited. It begins like this: oh my god, the sea is coming in. It begins like that, the beginning of the story. So let's read that part. It was then she saw the wave. Oh my God, the sea's coming in. That's what she said. I looked behind me. It didn't seem that remarkable or alarming. It was only the white curl of a big wave. Right. Now, remember, we will talk about the devices in this presentation itself. Okay, the devices, the literary techniques are separate, but we will also talk about the literary devices in this presentation itself. As I was saying, there's an exclamation here. Now, we don't know who she is, right? We can assume, we can guess who she is, but still, Sonali Deraniyagala, the narrator, has not provided who she is. Maybe in the middle of the story, you might get an idea. Oh my God, the sea is coming in. That's what she said. I looked behind me. It didn't seem that remarkable. Remarkable. That means special. It didn't seem like a big deal. It didn't seem so remarkable. The sea coming in, right, didn't seem like a big deal or alarming. What's alarming? Something that seems like a threat, something that seems dangerous. It didn't seem alarming, okay? It didn't seem like a threat. It was only the white curl of a big wave. Now remember, the color white is a symbol, okay? The color white, my friends, is a symbol. Now remember, when we are talking about primary colors in literature, symbolism is very important. Now the word white has many ideas, okay? The word white has many ideas. Now, for example, you can see my favorite color to wear is white. I love wearing white because white is such a pure color. Now, if you are a very clean person, which I am a very clean person, by the way, if you're a clean person, you love wearing white, right? But if you're a messy person, if you have a messy job, if you are a very a person who gets dirty a lot, then you hate white. People like wearing black, right? So remember, when we are talking about the color white, there are good ideas and bad ideas. Now, for example, innocence is represented by white, but equally there are negative ideas we can get from the color white. Let me show you here in the presentation. White can give you a very unsettling feeling, okay? The color white can give you a very unsettling feeling like this. So now everything in this picture is predominantly white, right? All of the picture, all of the components of this picture is white, but imagine yourself in this room with this person. I don't even know if this is a woman or a man, okay? I'm not sure. But imagine you in this room, the white room with this person. I would freak out, okay? I would freak out, right? I would be so afraid I would faint. So I mean, white is it's a very unsettling color, okay? White is a very unsettling color. So now do you understand? There are positive ideas and then there are negative ideas also when it comes to colors, primary colors in our syllabus. By the way, Asian movies, you see ghosts are pure white, right? Their faces, their skin is completely white. So the reason is that white makes us uncomfortable. The color white makes us uncomfortable. So now, as I mentioned previously, my friends, you understand that the color white is a symbol. That's a literary technique, a symbol, white. But you couldn't usually see the breaking waves from our room. You hardly noticed the ocean at all. It was just a glint of blue above that wide spread of sand that sloped sharply down the water. Now, you see, Sonali Deraniyagala is a prolific writer. She has used so much literary devices in this particular extract that it is genius, okay? Let me show you the devices here. Now, those of you who are new to literature, there's visual imagery. Remember the word visual imagery. We'll talk about this in the presentation. Visual imagery, my friends, is a glint in the sense a very small color, a very light color, a glint of blue above that wide spread of sand that sloped sharply down to the water. So what does this mean here, by the way? You hardly noticed the ocean. Now remember, don't look at the literal meaning, not hardly. Hardly means rarely, very rarely. You couldn't even see the sea. You couldn't even see the sea from her room. You could not see the sea from her room. You hardly noticed the ocean at all. It was just a glint of blue above that wide spread of sand that sloped sharply down the water. This right here, especially those of you who are new to literature, remember, wide spread of sand that sloped sharply. A slope is a decline. A slope is a decline. So the sand sloped sharply, a very sharp slope. The sea and the sand were like this. So this is the sea and this is the sand. The sand slopes sharply. This is called alliteration, okay? This is called alliteration. Now, what do you mean by alliteration? when you have adjacent words and they begin with the same sound. Not two adjacent words, can be more than two. Now, in this case, there are four adjacent words, not next to each other, adjacent, near each other. Spread, sand, sloped, sharply. Slope, you know, slope means a decline. Sharply means directly, not like a gradual slope, not like a gradual slope, a sharp slope. Sharply down to the water. Now, the front of the wave had scaled up to this slope. By the way, I think, yes, yeah, right. Now, the front of the wave had scaled up to this slope and was nearing the tall conifers that were halfway between our room and the water's edge. Right. Now, she's giving us an idea about the setting, about where she is in. Now, you understand that there is a room. She talks about a room. And then she uses the word halfway between. Between means in the middle, okay? So what is between the room and the wave, the water's edge? What is between their room and the wave, my friend? It is a conifer. A conifer is a kind of a tree. I'll show you a picture of that. A conifer is a kind of a tree similar to a similar to a Christmas tree, not a Christmas tree, a Christmas tree actually. A conifer, okay? So now what do you understand? Now this is their room, okay? Let me show you. Let me draw a picture here. The illustration is also there, but let me draw the picture. Now this is their room, okay? This is the water's edge. This is the wave right here. The conifers were in the middle, okay? The conifers were in the middle of the water's edge and the room. But what happened here? But what happens now is that the wave comes towards the conifer. The wave comes towards the conifer. That is an alarming situation. That is an alarming situation. That means the wave is getting closer and closer. The conifer was halfway between their room and the water's edge. But in this scenario, in this case, you understand that the wave travels towards the conifer. Okay? The wave travels towards the conifer. As I was saying, my friend, we can move forward then. We can move forward. Right. Now, the front of the wave had scaled up this slope and was nearing the tall conifers that were halfway between our room and the water's edge. This is the visual imagery you get. By the way, the picture that you see on your right. Give me one moment, please. I need a moment. One second, please. This is the conifer, by the way. Take a look at the picture. What you see on your right is a conifer, is a tree, right? And this is the water, and this is their hotel room. So this is the visual imagery you get when you read that part. One moment, please. Right, fine. Apologies for that. As I was saying, my friend, remember, so now this is the visual imagery you get. Not a coconut tree. No, a conifer is not a coconut tree. A conifer is a tree that looks like this, my friend. Okay? A conifer is not a coconut tree. A conifer is a tree that looks like this. Okay? Not a coconut tree. It's like it's a Christmas tree. It's like a Christmas tree, a finest tree. It looks like a Christmas tree, actually. That's a conifer. Right. Then there was more, white froth, and more. Now, do you see, using the wordings more and more, that is repetition. Okay, I'll write this down here itself. You can make a note of it, or you can make a mental note of it if you already know this. Was more, white froth, and more. The word white is also repeated, and this is repetition. Repetition, when you're repeating something deliberately. So there is more and more white froth. Now, when someone repeats something, it gives you two ideas. Now, in literature, I remember there used to be a boy called Premal in my class, actually. He's not doing he had done his O-levels in the previous year. He always asked me, sir, what is the effect created? The effect, which is genius, right? You should always ask yourself, what is the effect created? What happens because of this repetition? What do we get? What is the idea behind this repetition? What is the effect created, right? Two ideas. One is importance. You mention something again and again, you bring importance, right? Now imagine that your mother wants you to do something important. Pay the electricity bill. Your mother gives you the money and gives you the bill and asks you to pay the bill. You tell your mother, okay, ma, in a minute I'll pay the bill, in a minute or in a few minutes. And your mother reminds you again and again, hey, don't forget to pay the electricity bill. And when you go out also, she'll remind you, have you got the money? Did you drop the money? She will repeat it again and again. That creates importance. And then when there is an urgency, remember the first idea is importance, the second idea is urgency. Urgency is also created through repetition. Now when you want someone to come, okay, you ask them, you tell them come. But when you want someone to hurry up, you ask them to come, 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 come. You want them to hurry up, right? When your teacher is angry, okay, when your teacher is angry, she will ask you to go. When she's really angry, she'll ask you to leave, go, get out of the classroom, go. She will repeat, repetition, right? Right. Is the word incongruous in this? No, right? Incongruous. Yes, by the way, yes, one mistake. I think I had not read this part. Apologies. I had not read the entire part. I had skipped the part. Apologies for that. I was distracted. Right. Like I was saying, water's edge, incongruous. Now apologies, I had missed this part. Okay, I'll read this part again. But you couldn't usually see breaking waves from our room. You hardly noticed the ocean at all. It was just a glint of blue above that wide spread of sand sloped sharply down the water. Now the froth is the foam of the water. Now when you use the word froth, your saliva forms some foam, right? The froth of the wave, the foam of the wave, the froth. The best example is when you say the word froth, your saliva forms bubbles, foam. That is an example for froth, but the froth is not from your saliva, the froth is from the wave, right? The froth of the wave had scaled up this slope. Scaled means increase in size. Scale means increase in size. The froth of the wave had scaled up this slope and was nearing the tall conifers that were halfway between our room and the water's edge. By the way, it did not scale down, right? By the way, my friend, it did not scale down, it scaled up. Okay, let me remind you. It did not scale down, it scaled up. So now if this is the slope, the wave scaled up the slope. The wave went up the slope, not down. So imagine if the wave is able to go up the slope, obviously it is a powerful wave, right? It's a powerful wave if the wave scaled up the slope, right? That were halfway between our room and the water's edge. Incongruous, those trees in the landscape of brittle thorny scrubs. Incongruous, right? Incongruous means without harmony, right? Now congruous means harmony in a very meditative state. So when trees are calm and when trees are in harmony, you see that they are incongruous, right? And one moment, there's a pupil here to collect the tunes, so she'll be calling. Give me a moment, please. Okay, give me 1 moment. I'll be back in like 1 minute. Apologies for this. Apologies for that. There was a pupil who wanted the tunes actually. So it's a one-man show, to be honest, right? Everything is one-man driven. So sometimes I might be distracted a bit. And, you know, I get so many phone calls per day. So that's why you might see me a bit distracted. But that's fine. Now we've got that covered. We can move forward. Yes, you can get the tunes collected, but you have to inform me prior to the collecting actually, so I can ready the tunes. So, like I said, we can move forward within this slide, right? So here, now the froth of a wave had scaled up this slope and was nearing the tall conifers that were halfway between our room and the water's edge. This talks about the power of the wave, right? Now, in this case, the wave is able to climb up the slope, which is a obvious indication of that wave being powerful. Apart from that, the wave is able to reach the tall conifers, not the short, not the stubby conifers, the tall conifers. So this is a tall wave. So gradually, we see that the narrator is trying to emphasize the power of the wave, even though she is physically far away from the wave. Okay, even though she is physically far away from the wave, it is obvious, it is very clear that she is attempting to communicate the power of the wave, right? So this is a tall wave. It's a wave that can kill you. That is what she is trying to communicate to us. Right. This was so now the froth of a wave had scaled up this slope and was nearing the tall conifers that were halfway between our room and the water's edge. Incongruous, that means not in harmony. Okay. Congruous means in harmony. Incongruous, not in harmony. Incongruous, those trees in this landscape of brittle, thorny scrubs. Now, this is a landscape full of scrubs. Scrubs in the sense, small thorny bushes. And then there are trees, and these trees were incongruous. That means when a wave hits the trees will not stand straight. They were shaking. The trees were shaking, incongruous, erratically shaking. So this is powerful visual imagery, right? This is a powerful visual imagery, like I said, my friends. So those trees in this landscape of brittle, thorny scrubs. Brittle means easily breakable. So now this is a visual imagery that talks about the land. Is it a snowy winter wonderland? No, it's a thorny, hot area. Now Sri Lanka, obviously, and especially where Sonali Deraniyagala is, near Yala. She was near Yala. That's a very hot area, right? It's a very humid in the sense, it is a dry area, so that the thorny scrubs, okay, the thorny scrubs emphasizes the setting. So what kind of a setting is this? This is a dry area. This is an obvious dry area. So here, this was peculiar. I called out to Steve in the bathroom. Come out, Steve. I want to show you something odd. Now she calls to Steve. Steve is her husband, obviously. I have pictures of them. I will show you. So now, this was peculiar, interesting, peculiar, not normal, a bit interesting. This was peculiar. This was peculiar. I called out to Steve in the bathroom. Come out, Steve. I want to show you something. Odd, in this case, odd in the sense, something that is not normal. I didn't want him to miss this. I wanted him to come out quick before all this foam dissolved in a minute, Steve muttered, with no intention of rushing out. Now, she believes, okay? So like I said, my friend, peculiar means something that is not common. A bit interesting. It is an interesting thing. Apart from that, the situation right here is irony. Okay, the technique right here is called irony. Okay, it is called situational irony. Okay, now what is situational irony? Okay, let me tell you that clearly. Now, the reason is, now she believes that this wave, okay, this magnificent wave, this huge wave will disappear in a minute. Okay, I want him to come out. I wanted him to come out quick before all this foam dissolved in a minute. She believes this foam, this wave will dissolve in a minute. But is she correct? Is that she expects that the wave will dissolve in a minute? She expects that the wave will retreat or recede in a minute. But is that really the case? Will that really happen? No, it will not. She does not expect the disaster to follow after this. So when you expect something, and the opposite thing happens, it's called situational irony. Okay, usually irony means what you think, what you say, what you do, the opposite thing happens. Okay, that is called irony. Situational irony means she expects something to happen. Now she expects that this will dissolve, this will go back, this will recede. She expects that will happen like that, but really it does not. It does not dissolve, it does not recede. It becomes a much more powerful wave. It is a situational irony. I hope you understood that. Okay, right, yes, well done. I got a very good question here. What's the difference between verbal irony and situational irony? Verbal irony, what you say, you mean the opposite thing. Imagine there's a I use this example a lot. Imagine that you have not done your homework, okay, and your teacher says, ah, very good, that is how you should come to our class. Very good, don't do your homework. Okay, no, don't do your homework. Very good. So that is verbal irony. Exactly, Nada. Something like sarcasm. Something exactly like sarcasm. That is verbal irony. Verbal irony and sarcasm fall under the same branch. Another example. Now imagine you have a friend called Fatima. During quarantine, she has eaten so much and she has become two Fatimas. And you look at her and you say, my God, Fatima, you've gotten thinane. Fatima, you look so beautiful, Fatima. Your grandma. Now your grandma has antique jewelry. Now I remember my grandma had antique jewelry. She had jewelry boxes. I didn't want the jewelry. I want the box. I love the jewelry box. So when I used to play with the jewelry box, my grandma used to say, ah, no, break it, break it. I don't want to break it, break it, break it. No, please, break it, break it, break it, break it. I don't want it. That is what she used to tell me. And I actually broke it. Okay, I did not know that this woman was using verbal irony. She was being sarcastic. She did not really want me to break it. Okay, she did not really want me to break it. She was using verbal irony. Okay, now there might be examples in your life also. There might be examples in your life also where you use verbal irony. What you say, you mean the opposite thing. Now imagine a friend of yours does a really stupid thing. I remember I had a friend, okay. Now I used to go to the gym. I still exercise, but I used to go to the gym, okay, with my friend. And my friend once told me the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Now, to call it the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, you should listen to it. He took 5 kilograms, okay. He told me, Machang, this 5 kilogram weight is heavier than this 5 kilogram weight. That is what he told me, okay. He said that this 5 kilogram weight is heavier than this 5 kilogram weight. But is that right? What is the weight of this weight? 5 kilograms. And what is the weight of this weight? 5 kilograms. That means they are both the same weight, okay. So he says that this 5 kilogram weight is more heavier than this 5 kilogram weight. And I laughed so hard. I told him, Machang, you are a damn genius. You have discovered something that even Einstein could not discover. You're a damn effing genius. That is verbal irony. You're right, Safwan. Both of them are the exact same weight. But he told me, Machang, this 5 kilogram weight is much more heavier than this 5 kilogram weight. Right, which is crazy. So, as I was saying, verbal irony. He's stupid, but I told him, Machang, you're a genius. You're a genius. Right. So as I was saying, my friend, this is situational irony. What is situational irony? What you expect, my friend, the opposite thing happens, right? What you expect, the opposite thing happens. Situational irony. Imagine another example. Imagine you set a bear trap. You set a bear trap, okay? And you cover the bear trap, okay, with leaves. In the entire world, in this entire universe, you are the only person who knows where the bear trap is. So if you know where the bear trap is, you are the last person who will get caught to that bear trap. You will not be caught to that bear trap because you know where that bear trap is. So like I was saying, what you should remember is, if you get caught to that bear trap, will you expect, when you open the bear trap, will you expect, yes, I will get caught to this bear trap and the bear trap will rip my leg off. The bear trap will break my bone. I will have to amputate my leg. Will you plan that when you set the bear trap? No, you will not. But ironically, ironically, you will get caught to the bear trap. That is situational irony. What you expect, the opposite thing happens. Raise your hands up if you understood what situational irony is. Please raise your hands up. Amazing, amazing. A lot of you, a lot of you have understood what situational irony is. For some reason you don't understand that. Don't worry, we will get this eventually. So what you expect, the opposite thing happens in this example. And please, you can put your hands down. Thank you so much for contributing. Yes. No, irony and hypocrism is not the same thing. Being a hypocrite or hypocrisy or hypocrisy is not the same thing. We will talk about hypocrisy. And to be honest, in the vendor of sweets, Jagan is a hypocrite. In the vendor of sweets, well done, Muhammad. Jagan is a hypocrite. He takes part in hypocrisy. And yes, like I was saying, we can move forward in this. Yeah, in this story, in this short story, we don't see hypocrisy at all. There are no hypocrites. But do you understand that Sonali does not expect this to happen? She in the beginning she believes. What does she believe in the beginning? Let me highlight that part. Okay, let me use a different color, purple here. It didn't seem that remarkable. The beginning, okay, beginning. Sonali thinks, didn't seem that remarkable. Normal thing. It's a normal thing. It's a sea. Now she tells her friend or she thinks to herself, that's not remarkable. It's the sea. What can the sea do? Can the sea run behind us, chase us, and kill us? Will the sea come behind us, run behind us, and kill us? Which it did. It did kill you. It did kill her family. So, by the way, I'm not joking. Okay, I'm not joking. I'm trying to make you understand this. That's why I'm using a tone like this. I'm not joking, by the way. Right. As I was saying. Right, we can move forward then. And by the way, yes, I don't know, sir, how you know my favorite color is purple. I have never told anyone that my favorite color is purple, but someone here knows that my favorite color is purple. Okay, cool. Right, and then she believes that this is something remarkable. Okay, that is why she asks her husband to come out. I want to show you something odd. Now she thinks it's an odd thing. In the beginning, it's not remarkable, normal thing, and then it's an odd thing. It's not normal, it's an odd thing. Okay, so gradually we see that the story changes. This is the visual imagery we get. And by the way, this is a conifer. The tree that you see here is a conifer, not Jennifer, conifer. Right, and then we have repetition. Now we are in the right track. Okay, now we are in the right track. Now we can proceed. Then there was more white froth and more repetition, again and again, repeating something. And now she's afraid. Now there is urgency, there's importance. Now if there is more white froth, will this froth not end? If the sea comes towards them, does that mean that they have no escape? That is the idea that she gets in her mind. Wick was sitting by the back door reading the first page of The Hobbit. I told him to shut that door. Right, Vic is the name of one of her sons, one of her kids. Her son's name is Vic. Right, so Vic was reading The Hobbit. Right, the technique used here is called allusion. Right, the technique used here is called allusion. Now you might think, sir, what is allusion? Okay, allusion is when you take literary ideas from other work. Okay, a allusion is when you take literary ideas from other works. The best example would be, my friend, there's a song that says, "Our Romeo needs a Juliet." The writer is it's a Tamil song. Okay, "Our Romeo needs a Juliet." It's a song. But in that song, they have lifted ideas from Romeo and Juliet. That is allusion. In The Vendor of Sweets, Gandhi is a real character in a fictional town. That's a fictional town. The Vendor of Sweets is a fictional town, but they have a real Gandhi. They talk about the real Gandhi. That is allusion. Right? Into the Evening Star by William Blake. "Thou fair-haired angel of the evening, whilst the sun rests on the mountains, light thy bright torch of love." Into the Evening Star by William Blake. That is allusion. The poet is talking about the Greek goddess Venus or the Roman goddess Aphrodite, right? The Greek goddess Venus, Roman goddess Aphrodite. So those are literary work found in other sources, other literary sources. If you, now for example, imagine you write a story, okay? And I take some parts of your story and put it inside my story. That is allusion, not illusion, allusion. Another example, in The Camel's Hump by Rudyard Kipling, there was a talk about the jinn. There was a talk about a jinn, right? What's a jinn? Exactly, spelled with a D, but pronounced jinn, jinn. A jinn is an Islamic, a kind of a spirit found in Muslim culture, in Arabic literature, right? It's a spirit found in Arabic literature. That is allusion. I think you understood what allusion is. Raise your hands up if you did not understand what allusion is. Raise your hands up if you did not understand what allusion is, right? A few of you. You can be honest, okay? You can be honest, completely fine. Right. Let me explain that again, okay? Now imagine that I am writing a story, okay? In my story, I write about Red Riding Hood. Okay, in my story, I write about Red Riding Hood. But tell me, am I the author of Red Riding Hood? No, right? I'm not the author of Red Riding Hood, not really. But in my story, I will write the word Red Riding Hood. Now, for example, I would say the protagonist is a Red Riding Hood of our time. The protagonist is a Red Riding Hood of our time. That story uses allusion. Allusion is when you take ideas from a different story and you implement it inside your own story. The Hobbit. The Hobbit is a book by Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien's Hobbit. It's a book. So this book is a different. Now, did Sonali Deraniyagala write this book? Did Sonali Deraniyagala write this book? The Hobbit by Sonali Deraniyagala? No. This was written by Tolkien, and the person who wrote The Lord of the Rings. Awesome story, by the way. The Lord of the Rings, you should watch the movies also. So like I said, my friend, The Hobbit was not written by Sonali Deraniyagala, but she uses the reference in her book. She uses the reference of The Hobbit in her book. That is allusion. Now I think all of you might have understood what allusion is. Fine. So here, Vic was sitting by the back door reading the first page of The Hobbit. I told him to shut that door. It was a glass door with 4 panels, and he closed each one, then came across the room and stood by me. He didn't say anything. He didn't ask me what was going on. Right, now the son being very obedient, even the son is not alarmed. Sonali has changed a bit. How has Sonali Deraniyagala changed? Got to ask yourself, you got to think about this, okay? In the beginning, she says that, okay, it's not remarkable. Then she says, okay, it's something odd. Now she wants to close a what door? A what door is she closing? A glass door, right? Now remember something very important here, okay? Now, this is actually foreshadowing, but it's not in your syllabus. It's foreshadowing. It's not in your syllabus, okay? I'll tell you why. It's very complicated. Why is it complicated? Now, I want you to ask yourself, will a glass door provide you protection? Imagine that there are 10 people trying to, do God knows what to you. 10 people want to kill you, okay? And you're running right from those people, and you see a glass door. You get in and you lock the glass door. And then you are inside a room and you think, okay, I'm safe now. Are you really safe? If you lock a glass door, are you safe? In your front door, will your father say, we have to install a glass door? I'm very confident about the crime in my area. From next week onwards, we are going to have a glass door in my house. No, never. Glass door will provide you protection from dust. Okay, that is the only thing that you will be provided protection from, and dust and rain. Okay, you will not be protected from dangers. People can break the glass door. A danger, something dangerous, can break through the glass door. The glass door is foreshadowing. It shows us that, are they really safe? They think that they are safe. Sonali thinks that, okay, I shut the glass door. Now I'm safe. Now no one can do anything to harm me. I'm inside my safe zone. Is that really the case? No. That is not really the case. Sonali is in danger. She thinks, okay, now I'm safe. Now close the glass. No, she's not. She's in danger. Okay. As I was saying, we can move forward then. He didn't say anything. He didn't ask me what was going on. So Vikram being mute, being silent here. The foam turned into waves, waves leaping over the ridge where the beach ended. This was not normal. Waves leaping over, jumping over. Waves are jumping over. You can say personification, but I don't accept personification for this example, because even humans are not the only things that can leap, right? Even animals can leap. So you can't call that personification, but visual imagery. The waves are leaping over the ridge. Ridge is the edge, a kind of a ridge, the edge. The wave is leaping over the edge or the ridge where the beach ended. This was not normal. Now, do you understand? There's the beach and then there's the ridge. The ridge is where the hotel begins. The wave leaps over the ridge. That means the wave is coming closer and closer. The foam turned into waves. Now, foam is nothing, right? Foam is like, penna, penna, bubulu, bubulu. Foam is nothing. But now when foam turns into waves, foam can't hurt you, but waves can hurt you. The foam turns into waves, waves leaping over the ridge where the beach ended. This was not normal. The sea never came this far in. Waves not receding or dissolving. Now, do you see there are like ing words, not receding, not dissolving. Receding means going back. The wave did not go back. The wave is not receding or dissolving. Closer, now brown and gray, waves rushing past the conifers and coming closer to our room. Again, do you see repetition? Do you see repetition here? Let me take out the eraser one moment. Erase these parts here. Do you see repetition here? Closer. Yeah, and I got a question here. In some countries, they have glass doors, but then you need very good security. You need though the countries with glass doors, they have a security officer outside, they have cameras, they have all of the necessary security measures. But in a normal house, I don't agree that a glass door is not a very good option, okay? Right. So now what do you see? There's repetition. Closer now, brown and gray, brown or gray, repetition. Now the water is brown and gray, brown or gray. These are also symbols. Brown is an earthy color. So the brown reminds us about the earth. So the sea is not coming by itself. It's dragging the earth. The sea is so powerful, the sea is able to drag the earth with it. Brown and gray, waves rushing past the conifers and coming closer. This should be closer to our room. Conifers is also repetition. Conifers was the beginning of the extract. Conifers is the kind of a tree, do you remember? The kind of a Christmas tree we see. So conifers is actually the tree that we are talking about here. Okay, so the waves are now passing the conifers. One moment. Leaping over the ridge where the beach ended. Right, is my video stuck? Give me a moment, please. How about now? Is my video okay now? It's not okay now. Right. It's okay. I'm not lagging, right? I'm not okay. Cool. One moment. Yeah, now it is okay. No, it's not stuck. Okay, cool. Thanks a lot for that. Right. Now remember this part very clearly. Right. As I was saying, my friend, remember this part. We understand that conifers are this kind of tree that you see on your right here. On your right, you see a tree, right? A Christmas tree. This is a conifer. What you see on your right here on the screen, this tree right here is a conifer, kind of a Christmas tree. So here, the wave is now rushing past the conifer. Where is the conifer? The conifer was between their hotel. I told you this. I had talked about this in the beginning. Now, this is the hotel, okay? This right here is the hotel. This is the conifer in the middle, and this is the water's edge. Now the wave is passing the conifers. That means the wave is coming towards the what? The wave is coming towards the hotel. The wave is coming towards their room. That's right. Well done, Abdul Rashid. So now that means they are in danger, they are in trouble. Waves rushing past the conifers and coming closer to our room. All these waves now charging, churning, suddenly furious, charging. Charging means running forward. Now, this is not the charging of your phone, okay? Not charging your phone. Charging, churning, suddenly furious. Churning means that it is moving, it is shaking inside. Charging, churning, shaking inside. Yes. And by the way, there is alliteration here. Well done. Charging and churning is alliteration. And by the way, let me ask you, what kind of a color is gray? Is gray a positive color or a negative color? Gray is a very depressing color, right? Gray is a depressing color. Will you see kids say, teacher, my favorite color is gray? No, no one says it. That kid should be a psychopath if that kid thinks that gray is a beautiful color. Gray is a depressing color. Right? Some of you might like, okay, I don't mean you're psychopaths. No, let me rephrase that. I was using hyperbole. You might like gray, okay. But I mean, gray is a very depressing color, right? It's a very depressing color. As I was saying, so charging, churning, that is alliteration. Remember that adjacent words begin with the same sound. Suddenly furious, suddenly menacing. Menacing in the sense, it makes you so afraid. Menacing, like a menace, like a monster. Menacing, making us so afraid. Suddenly menacing, very rough, like a monster. Steve, you've got to come out now. Steve ran out of the bathroom, tying a sarong. I don't know what Steve was doing in the bathroom. But for some reason, when Sonali yells for Steve, Steve comes out wearing a sarong. Now remember, a sarong again supplements the setting. Where do you find sarongs in? By the way, menacing. Menacing means making us afraid, very dangerous. Making someone afraid, menacing, like a monster, menacing. Sarong is found in South Asian countries. Sarong is found in South Asian countries. So that establishes the setting. Now we understand by reading this, we remember they are not in Europe. If this was Europe, he would have worn a robe. Europeans, they wear robes. But here in Sri Lanka, because the weather is so hot, they wear sarongs. Hands up if you wear sarongs. I don't wear sarongs actually. I wear shorts. Hands up if there are boys, they still wear sarongs. Okay, some boys still wear sarongs. Really happy to know that. I don't personally wear sarongs because when I fall asleep with the sarong and I wake up in the morning, I am somewhere and the sarong is somewhere else. So that's why I don't wear sarongs. I wear shorts. But as I said, in this example, you understand that the setting is actually in Sri Lanka. Okay, that establishes the setting. Okay, we are reminded again, he's wearing a sarong. The bugger is in Sri Lanka. Right? I hope you understood that. He looked outside. We didn't speak. Now, there's silence that creates suspense. Okay, that creates suspense. Okay, we talked about this in the beginning, by the way. Suspense is a prominent technique. We are not sure what's going to happen. Even the writer, even the narrator doesn't know what's going to happen. Equally, we have no idea what's going to happen. There is a understandable suspense here. They are now in silence. They didn't speak. This is Steve coming out with his sarong on. Sonali, Wick reading The Hobbit in the corner of the room. Like I said, these are all illustrated, so it's a lot more easier for you to understand the story. I grabbed Wick and Mully. So she calls him Mully. Mully means younger brother. So her sons are called Vic and Mully. Vikram and in this case should be Malinga, but we are not told that. Okay, we are not told that in the short story. So don't call them Vikram. Call them Vic and Mali. Vikram is mentioned, I believe. I grabbed Vic and Mali and Mully, and we all ran out the front door. I was ahead of Steve. He was in front of Steve. I held the boys each by the hand. So she held them by their hands. She held them each by the hand. Give me one of them. Give me one of them. Steve shouted, reaching out. But I didn't. That would have slowed us down. That millisecond. But even though they have never experienced a tsunami before, Sonali still understands she cannot lose a millisecond. Usually, when when a when a person is the word splintered second mentioned, right? And by the way, repetition, suddenly furious, suddenly menacing. Repetition is found in this part here. We can move forward. I grabbed Vic and Mully and we all ran out the front door. I was ahead of Steve. I held the boys each by the hand. Give me one of them. Give me one of them. Steve shouted, reaching out, but I didn't. That would have slowed us down. We had no time. We had to be fast. I knew that, but I didn't know what I was fleeing from. She did not know what she was fleeing from. That is an oxymoron. Right? Oxymorons are when you put two things together that are contradictory. A stupid genius, a beautifully ugly girl, right? That's an oxymoron, right? By the way, so now she does not know. Speak silence into the evening star. Speak silence. Can someone speak silence? Doesn't make sense, right? Can someone actually speak silence? Doesn't make sense. Okay, yeah, a true myth. Foolishly honest, almost an oxymoron. Foolishly honest, almost an oxymoron. Deafening silence, well done. Deafening silence is an oxymoron, courtesy of Abdul Rashid. Shut up and shut your mouth and eat. Yes, Mohammed and Fatima, both of you are correct. War is kind, Abhinaya, courtesy of Abhinaya. That is an oxymoron. Stupid genius, well done. Walking dead, well done. Walking dead from Muhammad. Yeah. So how can dead be walking? Living dead, oxymoron. Those they don't make sense. What she's fleeing, she's escaping from something. But what is she escaping from? Now imagine you, a girl. Okay, imagine if you're a girl in the class. In the middle of the road, you yell and you run like you run like someone is about to molest you. I hope that word is okay. You run in the middle of the road. People stop you and people ask you, Nangi, what are you running from? You say, I don't know. You say, I don't know what I'm running from. They will think you've gone crazy. I hope you understood that example. Okay, you are yelling and you're like, screaming and you're running like, like in Tamil movies, when girls scream like, they scream like this, and they run in the middle of the road. They run. So you're running in the middle of the road and people in the road stop you and they ask you, what are you running from? Nangi, what are you running from? Do you want help? And you tell me, I don't know what I'm running from, IA. They will send you to the mental hospital because that doesn't make sense. So Sonali, you're right. By the way, I got a set of oxymorons. I don't know what the name of this person is. It's very hard to. Yeah, it's actually Epsiba. Okay, Epsiba. That's a cool name, by the way. Alone together, amazingly awful, bittersweet, clearly confused, dark light. Very good. Deafening silence. Definitely, maybe. Those are all oxymorons. Stupid genius. That's right. Yeah, that is from Mushab. Yeah, that is from the Pirates of the Caribbean, I believe. Right. So like I said, what is an oxymoron? It's when you put two opposite things together, they don't make sense, right? The best example now, like I said, Sonali is running from something, but what is she running from? She was fleeing from something that she did not know. I was running from something that I did not know. That is not acceptable. That is an oxymoron. All right, Epsiba Sharoni, Epsiba. Okay, that's a cool name. So yeah, they were running from the tsunami, but do you understand that Sonali Deraniyagala says in this extract, I didn't know what I was fleeing from. She did not know what she was running from. And what else happened after this? Now it's a very hard emotional part for me also. Right now, this part, those of you who attend my class knows this, but those of you who don't attend my classes, you are going to be surprised. Yeah, original copy. Hikma says original copy. That's another oxymoron, right? I didn't stop for my parents. I didn't stop to knock on the door of my parents' room, which was next to ours. One, apologies, on the right as we ran out. I didn't shout to warn them. I didn't bang on their door and call them out. As I ran past, for a splintered second, I wondered if I should, but I couldn't stop. It will stall us. We must keep running. I held the boys tightly by their hands. We have to get out. Now, this part right here talks about her parents. Do you see that she's being very selfish? She's rejecting, she's rejecting her parents, right? She's being selfish here. She's rejecting the safety of her parents. At the moment, right now, the most important thing is the safety of her children. Any mother, even if your mother is put to the test, she will first of all ensure the safety of her children. All right. So, as I was saying, remember this clearly. As I was saying, my friend, in this example, she rejects her parents. She purposely leaves her parents. Now, in my life also, there was a part where I had to reject my parents, not in a way that you think, right? So, some of you know this, the majority of you know this, some of you might not know this. But the reason I'm telling you this story is that if you can resonate your life with literature, that will be a very pleasant experience for you. You will learn a lot of things. Sometimes you might share the same experience as I share. But when I was 17 years old, both of my parents passed away. Both of them had diabetes. First, my mother passed away, and then my father passed away. My mother passed away with a stroke, right? She passed away in like 5 minutes. On the way to the hospital, she was gone, right? That was a different story. I remember when my father passed away, because my father was a diabetic patient, he fell into a coma. And by the way, because my parents were so ill, I am a person who believes in health. So I'm very healthy. I exercise a lot. I run a lot. I eat healthy. I diet a lot. So I do not want to suffer. I do not want to be an unhealthy person. So I have learned from my parents' mistakes. So as I was saying, I remember my father was in a coma. My father fell into a coma. Now I can tell you this story, but back in the day, around 3-4 years ago, I could not start talking about this story without crying. This made me cry. But now I'm a different person. I'm a lot more matured person, so I'm able to face these consequences, to face these emotions. So I remember when my father was in the hospital, the doctors came to us and said that the treatment we're offering is not enough. We have to go for more expensive treatment. But my father was in a coma. That means best case scenario, he would be paralyzed. When he wake up, he would be paralyzed. One part of his body would not be working. The next case scenario, he would be a vegetable. The worst case scenario, he'll be a vegetable. A vegetable means he'll be alive, but he would not be able to talk, walk. I mean, everything would be done through equipment. So you know it's very expensive, right? Hospital bills are very expensive. We were not able to pay our insurance on time, so that is why we were not supported from the insurance also. What happened was, we had to make a decision. Okay, me and my sister, I have a sister, she's 5 years older than I am. Our birthday, me and my sister were born on the same date, different years. I was born in 1996, my sister was born in 1991, 5 years apart. um, yeah, this is March 28th, a few days from now we are celebrating our birthday. However, so my sister is a very strong person. Now she is in the US, she's in America, she's doing her PhD, she's married. So she's living an amazing life. She's a very strong person. She told me, it's like this, Javed. Now you understand that we have there are two situations. One, we can help our dad by selling our house. We had a house in Maradana. We still have a house actually in Maradana. We wanted to sell our house in Maradana to save my father. Okay, that was one option. Or we could have stopped the medication. That is not illegal. It is not illegal. We can say, okay, we are not in the position to pay. We can stop the medication and we can turn off the machines and we can wait till he pass away. But then my sister was very strong. She told me, Javed, now I was crying. Like, I was like, yeah, my dad is going to die. And I was like, crying with, and I could not even talk properly with my sister. My sister held me down. She said, Javed, look at me. This is your decision. You have the right. If you want to save dad, we will sell the house. We will pay for his medication. If not, that's okay. If not, Javed, we have to do the needful. We have to turn off the life support and we have to say goodbye. So I was crying and I was crying so much, right? So I took a little bit of time. I thought to myself, if my father was alive, if my father was saved, he would be a vegetable, he would be paralyzed, and that would be suffering, right? That would be me welcoming my father into a life of suffering, a life of problems and a life of hate. So I thought to myself, even though it was very hard, I thought to myself, no, we are not going to sell the house. And you can't sell a house in one day. Right now, for example, there's a phone here. can I sell this phone in one day? Do you think so? If I sell the phone in one day, will I be able to get a good price for it? No, the house would not have gotten a good price. We would have sold it for like half the price, or even cheaper than that, because we were desperate. So what happened was, then I told my sister, no, we will not sell the house. We will not, we should not do so. We should think about our future. Now, because my father's time has now actually come to an end. It was very hard. And I was the person waiting next to my father, crying, entire time crying, holding my father's hand like this and crying, and asking for forgiveness. I'm sorry I let you down. I know if I was in the bed, you would have actually done whatever you could to save me. But sadly, we have to let you go. And I was crying the entire time. For 2 days, I was crying. Okay. I didn't even remember whether I ate or not. I don't even remember whether I ate food or not. Next to my father's bed, one day early morning, I wake up 3 o'clock in the morning. 2 days before my A levels. 2 days before my A levels, I wake up in the morning. The machine doesn't work. Called the doctor. Doctor said, okay, fine, he's passed away. And that was a very hard day for me. That memory of me letting go of my father, what put me into such a depression. Okay, put me into such a depression. So when my sister left the country when I was 20 years old, and there was no one to comfort me, I attempted suicide. But I'm very lucky. For some reason, the chair, not chairs like this. Okay, there was a plastic chair, not these chairs, not chairs like this. These are metal chairs. There was a plastic chair. I was fat then. I was very fat. Okay, I was huge. Like I was like 100 kilo, 150 kilo. I'm sorry, 115 kilograms. Very damn fat in that age. I stepped on the chair and wanted to hang myself. I'm very lucky. The chair broke. The leg broke in the chair. I still have that chair, by the way. I still have that chair. The leg bent, and I fell down. I hit my arm, my elbow, and it hurt so much. It hurt so bad that I did not want to. I thought, if this hurt so much, if my arm hurt so much, imagine hanging myself and dying, how bad that will hurt. So that is the reason I did not do that, the needful. I did not commit suicide. However, afterwards, I was still depressed. I was very depressed. Okay. Afterwards, I found literature, right? I was teaching English. I was learning English also in the age of 20, 21, 20, I think, 20 or 20, I think. Yes. I was learning English. I was working other jobs also. But then I found the passion of literature. And through literature, I understood that there are a lot of beautiful things you can learn. You can learn from other people's experiences. Life is truly beautiful. The reason that we are depressed is because we don't believe life is beautiful. And we honestly can't live in the past, right? We must exercise our past. So what Sonali Deraniyagala tries to do in this memoir, during the way which she tries to exercise her past. She wants to send away her past. Equally, what happened was, the sad story was, my example, even my sad story was, I was able to exercise my sad story because I found out that literature gives you the opportunity to do so. So now I'm completely fine. Now I'm not, even though it's very sad, even though I feel very sad when I talk about it, I am not heavily affected in a negative way when I talk about my past. And I believe it's a good lesson for you also. So in the story Wave, she teaches us that we should let go of people. Sometimes people let go of us. Now, for example, I got a question here. So why did you not find a girl? A few years later, a girl that I loved a lot, she rejected me. She said that, no, Javed, this is not working out. And she rejected me. She called me to her home and she told me that she did not want anything to do with me. Then also I cried like a bitch. So I remember, now I asked you whether you have been rejected, whether you have been through a breakup. So I remember the girl I loved a lot. This is going on YouTube also, by the way. So the girl I loved a lot, she called me to her home. She told me, it's like this, Javed, this is not working out. I do not want to continue this. I did not want to tell you this through the phone. You would not have accepted it. So then we can forget about this. And I cried. Okay, I was like, baby, don't do this, baby. And I can say, baby, please say, and I cried a lot, right? So then, like a bitch. So what happened was, that also taught me a lesson in life, right? Sometimes we will have to let go of people, and sometimes people will let go of us. We will lose people in our life. we will lose people in our life. And like I said, my friend, what you should remember is, no matter who you lose, your life still should continue, right? Just because someone leaves you, just because your best friend leaves you. Now, some of you might not have fallen in love, some of you might not have had your hearts broken, but imagine this, imagine your best friend leaving you. They say that, no, you're not worth my time anymore, I have another best friend and I will be their best friend from today onwards. Don't talk to me, or don't come with me in public, don't appear with me in public. And they reject you. So just because your best friend leaves you, will your life stop? Will your life now not move forward? Will you not grow older? Will you not have responsibilities? Will the exam date not be nearer? Life will not stop. Just because someone leaves you, or just because you have to let go of someone, doesn't mean that life will stop. Life will continue. Take that to your heart. That is the morale you can learn from The Wave by Sonali Deraniyagala. And that is the idea that you have to emphasize when you are writing an analysis. But you should remember, in the analysis, you are answering a question. But if you have that idea that you have to let go of people, that is the true morale, that you should be strong enough to let go of people and live your life, then this seminar is successful. And also, this extract is also a successful extract. Exactly. The lesson you can learn is called morale, or moral, or morale, the lesson that you can learn. Right. So what does she say? I didn't stop for my parents. I didn't stop to knock on the door of my parents' room, which was next to ours on the right, as we ran out. I didn't shout to warn them. I didn't bang on their door and call them out. Again, do you see the word didn't? The word didn't is repeated again and again, right? She's emphasizing it. She's emphasizing that she didn't do it. So I didn't stop to knock on the door of my parents' room, which was next to ours on the right, as we ran out. I didn't shout to warn them. I didn't bang on their door and call them out. As I ran past for a splintered second, a small part, it would have only taken a small part of a second, okay, if for her to inform her parents, for her to tell her parents, okay, tsunami, there's a tsunami and we have to be ready for the tsunami. It would have only taken her, not tsunami actually, she could have warned them to run. Only a splintered second, only a part of a second, but she did not tell them. Now she feels guilt. She feels guilt in this example. She feels guilt, my friend. That's right. And by the way, this right here is alliteration. Splintered second is alliteration. And also metaphor. That means a part of a second. Now, usually a splinter is a piece of wood. A small piece of wood is known as a splinter. But now do you understand, this piece of wood and the second has been directly compared. When you are directly comparing two things, they are known as a metaphor. Now, for example, he is a king. She is the sun. She is the moon. You are a god. Those are all metaphors. Right? But what else? Mouth of death. Metaphor. Splintered second. That's a metaphor, because a splinter is a small piece of wood. But in this example, the small piece of wood is directly compared to a second, right? That is a metaphor. All right, I wondered if I should, but I couldn't stop. It will stall us. We must keep running. I held the boys tight by their hands. We have to get out. Now, do you understand? There's something very special here. Now, do you know, held is past tense, okay? Let me erase all of these things. Hopefully, you have written them down. Don't worry. The notes are all given in the text. All of these notes are given in the text. We are also doing an analysis, not the entire analysis. I will give you a very good explanation about the analysis. One moment. Right. Now, this is in past tense, okay? Held is in simple past, or past simple. Right. This is in past simple. Held. This, we have to go out. This is in present simple. So do you understand that they are alternating? the writer is alternating between past and present. Now, first of all, she says, what does she say? I held the boys, past tense, and then we have to get out. What does this mean? Now, when you are narrating about a past event, you will use past tense. But why is she using present tense? Why is she using present tense to narrate a past event? Well done. Mohammed gave me a very good answer. The story in her memory is suspended. Rishma Gauss, I like the way your name sounds. Okay, Rishma Gauss. Right. I will share the PDF with you. Don't worry. I will share the PDF with you also. Because there's a teacher with that has an exact same name like you. Okay, there's a teacher who has an exact, almost identical name as you. Okay, so sometimes don't know, could be you, but I'll share the PDF. Don't worry. I'm kidding. Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay, even if you're a teacher, even if even I don't know, even if you are planning to kill me, doesn't matter. I will share the tools with you. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm not a selfish person. I'm not a selfish person. I was just kidding. Okay, no issue at all. But your name sounds like the teacher's name. There's a literature teacher with your name, almost like your name. Okay, sometimes you might be her sister. I don't know. Sometimes you might be her sister. I'm kidding. Okay, no, it's like this. The problem is now I'm being very honest. Okay, my PDF software stopped working. I have to watermark this, so my PDF software stopped working. So I will send this to you through WhatsApp. So I will give you my WhatsApp number in the end. Not only this document, but there are many documents I can share with you. If you can send me a message through WhatsApp, I can share you the analysis. I can share you this presentation. I can share you various other documents that will be helpful for other lessons also. Okay, Rishma? Okay, Rishma Gauss? I can send you lessons from other topics also. For example, Lahore attack. I know why the cage bird sings. Farewell to BST, barn and stack entry. Right. Yes. No, I did not have time actually. So I will send you the PDF document after the seminar is over. By the way, Fatima Fahim has commented my number. You can send me a message right now. Okay. You can send me a message whenever you can. Mention your name, your school. Mention the seminar. Mention the WAVE seminar, and send me the needful the details. And I will be happy to share all of the documents with you. All right, cool. I was kidding. Okay, Rishma, I was kidding. I'm not a selfish person like that. Right. As I was saying, right. And they have committed my number also. So I didn't stop for my parents. I didn't stop to knock on the door of my parents' room, which was next to ours on the right as we ran out. I didn't shout to warn them. I didn't bang on their door and call them out. As I ran past for a splintered second, a small piece of a second, a splintered second, I wondered if I should, but I couldn't stop. It will stall us. Stall means it'll make us late. Stall, late, make us late. Stall us. Right. We must keep running. I held the boys tight by their hands. We have to get out. So now, obviously, she is suspended between past and present. In her mind, she cannot tell the difference between past and present. Every time she thinks about this event, now a mother losing her children, that is an unimaginable experience, right? A mother losing both of her children is an unimaginable experience. So what happens here is she believes that whenever she thinks about her past, she's unable to escape it. She's unable to escape her past. She's unable to get out of her past. So when she thinks about her past, she feels like she is trapped between present and past. That she's living her past again. That is why, yeah, exactly, that her past is like present, that her past is like the present. She is reliving her past again. That is why she uses past tense and present tense. We have to get out is mentioned in a past tense context. Right, and this is her running with her kids, and Steve is running behind her. Again, remember, you can't find these pictures online. You can find them separately, but you can't find the entire picture online because I make all of them individually. Slide by slide. So these are custom slides. Yeah. So you will not find this anywhere else. So that is the hard work I'm willing to put in to make literature fun. So remember, literature, and especially online classes should be fun. If not, the class will not be effective. It should be appealing, should be attractive. Yes. Yeah, you're right. There are some parts. Now, for example, Steve must be in a wrong. But I know that, yeah. But I use Photoshop, actually. I use Photoshop. I got a very powerful computer here, even though you can't see it. If you want, I can show you. But no, I'll show you in the end. Photoshop I use to edit all of the pictures and images. So all of them are custom made. Sometimes I use references from online sources. Now, for example, trees I get from online, the background I get from online, but the people and everything I get them from separate sources, and I place all of them together. So yeah. So in this case, you see that. Give me one of them. Give me one of them. Steve shouted, reaching out, but I didn't. That's the part. Okay, we can go back to reading then. All right. I didn't stop for my parents. I didn't stop to knock on the door of my parents' room, which was next to ours on the right as we ran out. We fled towards the driveway, not the driveway, apologies, the driveway at the front of the hotel. Driveway is where vehicles enter the hotel. The vehicles enter the vicinity. We fled towards the driveway at the front of the hotel. The boys ran as fast as I did. That's a simile. The boys ran as fast as I did. By the way, if you don't know how to spell simile, write smile and then write an I before in between S and M. Let me use a different color. That's not perceivable actually. If you don't know how to spell simile, remember, write smile and between S and M write an I. Simile. Yeah, well done, Safwan. Some people I have seen when they comment or when they chat with me, they spell simile wrong, because to be honest, simile is a very hard word to remember. I mean, to spell. When you spell it phonetically, you get a different meaning. We get a different word. So this is how you spell simile. If you, for some reason, you don't remember how to spell simile, this is how you should spell it. Write smile and write an I before M and after S, between S and M. We fled. We fled means we escaped. We ran. We escaped. We fled towards the driveway. At the front of the hotel, the boys ran as fast as I did. They didn't stumble or fall. Stumbling is another word for slipping, right? For losing your balance. So they didn't stumble and they didn't fall. They didn't stumble or fall. Right. They didn't stumble or fall. They were barefoot. What does barefoot means? Their feet were uncovered. Right. And I will share my location also. You have to contact me through WhatsApp actually. Don't worry. So they didn't stumble or fall. They were barefoot. Their legs were uncovered. They had naked legs. Their legs were uncovered, but didn't slow down because stones or thorns were hurting them. So this is a powerful imagery. So we understand that they were not running on a carpet, on a tile floor. They were running on a rough surface with thorns and stones, and their legs might have been hurting. Their legs might have been bleeding. Who knows? By the way, why is this a simile? Why is this a simile? The boys ran as fast as Sonali. The boys ran as fast as Sonali, like their mother. Like their mother, the boys also ran. So when you are indirectly comparing two things, it's known as a simile. They were barefoot, but they didn't slow down because stones or thorns were hurting them. They didn't say a word. Our feet were loud, though I could hear them slamming on the ground. He could hear their feet. She could hear their feet slamming on the ground. Ahead of us, ahead means in front of us, a jeep was moving fast. Now it stopped. Do you understand? Again, past tense, was moving fast. Now present, it stopped. Past tense and present tense, the story alternates between past tense and present tense. Right. By the way, yes, there is a very good technique here. I have not talked about this. Slamming is onomatopoeia. One moment. Slamming is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is a sound effect. A word used to communicate a sound only. Onomatopoeia is a word that you use to communicate a sound. Bark, bang, boom, whoosh, zip, swish, dishum. Those are all onomatopoeia. So here, slamming is the sound effect that you get. Now, when you slam something, when you can hear it like slamming something, onomatopoeia. You can also say auditory imagery, but onomatopoeia falls under auditory imagery. Ahead of us was a jeep was moving fast. Now it stopped. A safari jeep with open back and sides and a brown canvas hood. Now again, safari contributes to the setting. Can you find safari jeep in Colombo in the middle of the town? Can you find the safari jeep? Now you're outside, okay, waiting for the bus, and a safari jeep comes. No, obviously not. No, you find safari jeeps near a wilderness, near a sanctuary, near a forest. That's where you, not forest, wilderness. That's where you find safari jeeps. What can you understand is that this supplements the setting. Actually, this took place in Yala. This took place in the Yala National Park. So obviously, safari jeeps are found there. So this reminds us, no, this did not happen in Colombo. This did not happen near Galle In near Galle can you find a safari jeep? No, this happened near Yala. We ran up to it. I flung. Flung means she threw like a slingshot, you know, like catapult, like a catapult. I flung. Now, like loading a catapult, like this. So I flung Vikram into the back, and he landed face down on the green corrugated metal floor. Corrugated means there's a texture. There's a texture on the metal floor, by the way. So he landed face first, right? His face landed first on the green corrugated metal floor. Steve jumped in and picked him up. We were all inside now. Steve had Vic on his lap. I sat across from them with Mile on mine. In the book, it says Mile. We call him Malli also. So there are many words we can use, but I would say we can Malli. Right. We were all inside now. Steve had Vic on his lap. I sat across from them with Mile or Malli on mine. A man was driving the jeep. I didn't know who he was. Now, a man and a jeep, right? The driver and the jeep are very prominent, very important aspects of the story, right? A man driving jeep. These are symbols. Okay, I'll tell you what these symbols are. You're right, Fatima. The man is a symbol of time, actually. We'll talk about them. So what you can see is now she wants to protect Vikram, but she's in such a hurry. When she throws him inside the jeep, it is like a wrestling move. It's like in wrestling, they slam people on the mat. In wrestling, they slam people on the mat equally. The exact same thing is found here. She slams her son into the corrugated metal floor. That's not a normal metal floor. It is textured. There are bumps on the metal, so it would have hurt Vikram. But because she was in such a hurry to protect him, she forgot that it is a dangerous thing to do, so that she's reacting. She's not acting. Sonali is not acting. She's reacting. She has no... What is the difference between acting and reacting? Acting, you can choose to act. Reacting, you can't choose. You do it. Now, for example, when someone takes a cigarette and leaves the burnt cigarette on your skin, will you act or react? You'll react. Whenever there's something hot near your hand, you react. You don't act. But when someone is in trouble, okay, you act. You want to, you take action. You act. You take action to save that person. But when you are in trouble, you don't act. You don't take action. You react. When a dog runs behind you, okay, when a dog chases you, you don't act. You react. You run like hell. Right. Ahead of us, a jeep was moving fast. Now it stopped. A safari jeep with open back and sides and a brown canvas hood. This jeep was waiting for us. We ran up to it. I flung Vikram into the back, and he landed face down on the green corrugated metal floor. Steve jumped in and picked him up. We were all inside now. Steve had Vic on his lap. I sat across from with Mile on mine. A man was driving the jeep. I didn't know who he was. Yeah, and by the way, the Jeep was not really waiting for them. Obviously, the Jeep was just moving and the Jeep saw them and stopped. But she believes that the Jeep was waiting for them. In the sense, she purely believes that the Jeep is a mean of salvation to save them, a means of salvation. Right. What happened here? Ahead of us was moving, a Jeep was moving fast. Now it stopped. A safari Jeep with open back and sides and a brown canvas hood. Right. The Jeep jerked forward and she lost her grip and fell off. Right. Anton, by the way, Anton leaned out. There's a part I missed here. One moment. There's a part I missed here. Actually, there's a part where Beulah, where a character called Beulah falls out. Okay. Where a character called Beulah falls out. That part is not mentioned here. That's okay. We can go through that part. Okay. So remember, a character called Beulah falls out of the Jeep. Anton leaned out the back to reach Beulah and drag her up. When he couldn't, he jumped out. They were both lying. Yeah. I have missed that part. I have not added that part actually. We should add that part. If not, it seems incomplete. Right. That part we will read out of the PDF, by the way. One moment. We can read that part out of the PDF. So sometimes, there are some small, mishaps. There are some small parts where we overlook things. Give me a moment. Right. Right here, okay? Now I looked around me and nothing was unusual. No frothing water here, only the hotel. It was all as it should be, the long rows of rooms with clay-tiled roofs and terracotta floors of the open corridors, the dusty orange-brown gravel driveway thick with wild cactus on both sides. All there, the waves must have receded, I thought. And now she believes that she is safe. Okay? Now she believes that she is safe, but there is something you should think about. Remember, in this part, now, even though she is reassured that she's going to be okay, she is reassured that she'll be safe, right? And now she starts describing about the surrounding, okay? So no frothing water. I told you frothing water is water with foam. No frothing water, only the hotel. It was all as it should be. So everything was in place. The long rows of rooms is alliteration, I told you. Adjacent words, alliteration, adjacent words begin with the same sound. The long rows of rooms with clay-tiled roofs. Now in Sri Lanka, again, this reminds us about Sri Lankan architecture. In Sri Lanka, now we have asbestos roofs, but back in the day, there were clay-tiled roofs. Now there were single tiles you had to purchase to put on a roof. So there were clay-tiled roofs, the terracotta floors. Terracotta is a kind of design you have for a floor. A kind of a special design. It looks like a tile, but it's not a tile. It's a textured design that you put on the floor, that you cement on the floor actually. So terracotta is a kind of a floor design. These are all found in Sri Lanka. These are all Sri Lankan architecture. So this reminds us that they are still in Sri Lanka, obviously. Rooms with clay-tiled roofs, the terracotta floors of the open corridors, the dusty orange-brown gravel. Again, remember, orange-brown. Now, this is a visual imagery and also a symbol that talks about the earth. The dusty. Now, dusty, again, remember, is not a very pleasant imagery. When there is greenery, it's very pleasant, but dusty. That sounds a bit harsh, right? That sounds not pleasant. The dusty orange-brown gravel driveway, thick with wild cactus on both sides. Wild cactus. Now tell me, cactus is a kind of tree. It's like this, obviously. One moment. It's a kind of tree, like it looks very odd. I like this. This also looks wrong. A cactus is a tree. This also looks wrong. I can't draw it. It's very thorny. It's a thorny tree. Okay. A cactus is a thorny tree. Is it pleasant or unpleasant? Now, when you think of feather, you think of caressing the feather on your face like this, a feather. But cactus, will you caress the cactus on your face like this? No, right? It's unpleasant. So again, foreshadowing. These are foreshadowing. Foreshadowing in the sense we are given an idea about the near future. So these are unpleasant imageries. Foreshadowing means we are given an idea about the near future. These are unpleasant imageries. So that means cactus is not a good imagery. It's a very unpleasant imagery. Obviously, what is going to happen to them is also going to be unpleasant. Yes, exactly. A hint to the future is known as a foreshadowing. Now, do you understand that because there are cactus on either side? Okay, so now you see here, cactus on both sides, that creates a barrier. Cactus on both sides creates a barrier. So they are going only on one, they have only one way to go. The cactus on both sides symbolizes that they are trapped, right? Even when the wave is coming behind them, even when the wave is following them, they are trapped. Okay, I hope you understood that. They are trapped, my friends. So what you should remember is when the word cactus on either side, the wording cactus on either side is emphasized, we should remember that this is actually an indication that these people are not really safe. That they are not really safe, that they have only one place to go. The Jeep jerked forward and she lost her grip, fell off. The driver didn't see this. I told him, apologies, wait, on both sides, all there, the waves must have receded, I thought. Now she thinks she's safe, okay? I hadn't seen Olanta. Olanta is believed to be the first person who talked, who said that the sea is coming in. She should be Olanta, okay? But there is no confirmation. There is no confirmation here. In the short story, if you read the entire book, you know that Olanta is the person who spoke in the beginning. But in the story, there is no confirmation that she's Olanta. So don't think that they are the same person, because as per the proof provided by the story, we should not say that the person who spoke in the beginning is Olanta. Okay, because the short story does not provide us sufficient proof. So we can say Olanta is her friend. Okay, so I hadn't seen Olanta run with us, but she must have done. She was in the Jeep. Her parents had rushed out of their rooms as we came out of ours. So do you understand? She was in such a hurry that even though she ran, she felt like she ran alone. Even though she felt like she ran alone, she was actually running with Olanta and her parents. Her parents had rushed out of their rooms as we came out of ours, and now her father, Anton, was with us too. Olanta's mother, Beulah, was lifting herself up. Now, usually you can lift something, but you hoist a flag, right? Hoisting a flag is very hard. That's called connotation. This part right here is known as connotation. Lifting is different, okay? Carrying is different. Carrying is an easy thing. Lifting is a bit hard. You don't weight carry, you weight lift. You don't lift your groceries, you carry your groceries. Connotation, spelled exactly how it's pronounced. It's the emotion you get when you hear a word. Now, when I say carry, carrying groceries, lifting weights, hoisting is a very hard thing to do. We hoist a ship, hoist a flag. So that's a very hard thing to do. So she lifts herself into the Jeep. So she's doing it very hard. She's an old woman. She's doing it very hardly. Right. She was in the Jeep. Her parents had rushed out of their rooms. And yes, you can mention connotation in the analysis, completely fine. As we came out of ours, and now her father, Anton, was with us too. Olanta's mother, Beulah, was hoisting herself into the Jeep, and the driver revved. The driver started the engine, revved the engine. The Jeep jerked forward, and she lost her grip. The Jeep jerked forward. Remember, revved. That is a onomatopoeia. Revved is onomatopoeia. One moment. Yeah, revved. Onomatopoeia. That's a sound effect. Revved. The driver revved the engine. The Jeep jerked forward. That is alliteration. The Jeep jerked. That means jumped forward, jerking, a quick movement. The Jeep quickly moved forward, jerked forward, and she lost her grip, fell off. The driver didn't see this. I told him to stop. I kept yelling to him that she had fallen out, but he kept going. Beulah lay on the driveway and looked up at us as we pulled away. Beulah laid on the driveway and looked at us as we pulled away. She half smiled in a very pathetic way, half smiled. Revving is the sound that the engine makes. That's onomatopoeia, Fatima. Rev, the sound that the engine makes. Bark is the sound that a dog makes. So what do you see here? Now she half smiles. She's confused. She's honestly hurt, and she's honestly pathetic. Her situation is pathetic. She half smiles while she's on the dirt. The driveway didn't see this. The driver didn't see this. I told him to stop. I kept yelling to him that she had fallen out, but he kept going. Beulah lay on the driveway and looked up at us as we pulled away. She half smiled in confusion, it seems. Right. Yes, this is obviously an accident. It is obviously an accident, but what you understand is the driver will not stop. Remember, the driver is a symbol of life. The driver and the car is the Jeep, the Safari Jeep is actually a symbol of life and time. Will life stop whenever someone jumps out of your life? Will life stop whenever someone rejects you? Will time stop? No. You will keep on getting older. Your life will keep on moving forward. That is something you got to remember. Right. That's fine. Anton leaned out the back to reach Beulah and drag her up. When he couldn't, he jumped out. Now you see, Anton is a gentleman who does not want to leave his wife stranded. Okay, Anton does not want to leave his wife stranded. Be Anton. Okay, if you're a man, be Anton. Never ever leave your wife stranded. Even though it was now some people might think, okay, Anton is an idiot. Anton should not have done it, but I believe Anton did such a heroic thing to not want to leave your wife behind. If you're a man, that is your duty to protect your wife. So whenever you become a father, whenever you become a husband, make sure your first priority is your wife. Protect her. So obviously, the character known as Anton, he leaned out the back to reach Beulah and drag her up, but he could not, and he jumped out. They were both lying on the gravel now, but I didn't call out to the driver to wait for them. He was driving very fast. He's right. I thought, we have to keep moving. Soon we will be away from the hotel. Now Sonali again becomes selfish, and she again understands that she is not in the position to spare any time, right? No, by the way, this is not going on live. This is not going on live. I will upload this later. Once we are done with the what's it called, webinar, I will upload this onto YouTube. Right. So let's move forward then. We were leaving my parents behind. I panicked now. If I had screamed at their doors as we ran out, they could have run with us. We didn't get Archie and Sia. I yelled to Steve. This made Vikram cry. Steve held on to him, clasping him to his chest. Archie and Sia will be okay. They will come later. They will come. Steve said, Vic, stop crying, and snuggled into Steve. Again, remember, snuggling like a small rabbit. He snuggles into Steve, like children snuggling, like getting like a small rabbit, they snuggle into their parents. Right? Because now the reason she did not ask and remember, the reason that she did not ask the driver to stop the second time is because she realizes that there is no point of stopping. She understands the truth of life. Sometimes when people fall out of life, you cannot wait for them. You cannot, spare time for them. Your life should keep on moving forward. That is realization. That is realization. So I panicked now. If I had screamed at their door as we ran out, they could have run with us. We didn't get Archie and Sia. I yelled to Steve. This made Vikram cry. Steve held to him, clasping him. Remember, clasping means holding tight. There's another poem where you find this word. What's that poem? There's another poem that you find this word in. What's that poem, my friends? The Eagle. Well done. Well done, Abdul. Well done, Hafsa. Shahla, Abhinaya, Azka. The others, well done. Fatima, Hikma, Rumana, The Eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson. He clasped the crag with crooked hands, close to the sun in lonely lands, ringed with the azure world he stands, clasping. That means hold on tightly. Archie and Sia will be okay. They'll be fine. They'll come later. They'll come, Steve said. Vic stopped crying and snuggled into Steve. Right. We didn't get Archie and Sia. I yelled to Steve. I was thankful for Steve's words. I was reassured. That means I was made calm. I was reassured that my parents will be okay. I was reassured. Steve is right. There are no waves now. Ma and Da, they will walk out of their rooms. We will get out of here first, and they'll join us. I had an image, not imager, image of my father walking out of the hotel. There were puddles everywhere. Now she thinks the tsunami is actually a rain, something similar to rain. Do you understand? That she believes that tsunami is something similar to rain. There are puddles everywhere. He had his trousers rolled up. Now, you know, when it rains and there are puddles everywhere and we roll our trousers up, that is what Sonali thinks. She doesn't understand the severity of the tsunami. Sonali doesn't understand the severity of the tsunami. She thinks it's like rain. It's like rainwater. It's like a rainwater flood. He had his trousers rolled up. I'll ring Ma on her mobile as soon as I get a phone, I thought. So she has not even got her phone. Usually, you know, when you become an adult, the first thing you reach for is your phone. You always have your phone for an emergency. So when I am going out in a rush, I always reach for my phone. So Sonali, however, does not reach for her phone. So she wants to find the phone to call her parents once they are out. We were nearing the end of the hotel driveway. That means they still have not even left the hotel vicinity. They have not even left the hotel premises. We were nearing the end of the driveway, the hotel driveway. We were about to turn left onto the dirt track that runs by the lagoon. By the way, lagoon is a muddy area. Lagoon is a muddy, swampy area, a lagoon. Dirt track, not a proper road, a road made of sand and dirt. Are these pleasant imageries or unpleasant imageries? Are these negative or positive imageries? What do you guys think? They are obviously, you are right, all of you are correct. They are unpleasant. Don't worry, the presentation will be over. I will also, once we are done with our presentation, I will give you my phone number. You can send me a message and you can get the tunes and you can get the analysis. There's an analysis for the wave also. We don't have time to discuss the analysis. Don't worry. We have ample of time to discuss these things in my class. So anyhow, I will send you a message. I will give you my number. Please send me a message as soon as possible asking for the tunes. And mention you were in the wave seminar and mention your name also. Right. Even if your name is Gauss, Reza Gauss also, that's completely fine. Right. I'm kidding. Steve stared at the road ahead of us. Now, staring, that means, is he pleasantly looking? Is he peering? No, he's staring. It is unpleasant. It is an unpleasant imagery, right? So in this case, you understand that this really is foreshadowing. This is foreshadowing. Steve stared, and again, alliteration. Steve stared at the road ahead of us. He kept banging his heels. Banging, that is a onomatopoeia. Banging is onomatopoeia. I kept banging his heels on the floor of the Jeep. Hurry up, get a move on. So you see that this creates urgency. I told you, onomatopoeia is a sound effect. And what happens in the end, sadly, the Jeep tilts and overturns. The Jeep was in water then. Suddenly, all this water inside the Jeep, water sloshing over our knees. Where did this water come from? Yeah, and kindly give me a moment, my friends, one moment. Apologies for that. Right, like I was saying, let's move forward. There are a few more slides to cover, and this will be over within the next few minutes. Okay, nothing to worry. The analysis, we will talk about the analysis further in another session, but nothing to worry. I will send you the analysis through WhatsApp as I promised, along with this tute right here. So what happens after this? Okay, the jeep was in water. Then suddenly, all this water inside the jeep, water sloshing over our knees. Again, sloshing is onomatopoeia. It is a sound effect. The water sloshing over our knees. Where did this water come from? I didn't see those waves get to us. This water must have burst out from beneath the ground. In the sense, burst out from beneath is a alliteration. Now she believes she did not see the water approach them, but she thinks the water has come from the ground, has burst out from beneath the ground. What is happening? This is a rhetorical question. It is when a person, it's called a, one moment, apologies. A rhetorical question. It is when the person who is asking the question does not expect an answer. So what is happening? The jeep moved forward slowly. I could hear its engine straining, snarling. These are also onomatopoeia. Straining, working very hard, snarling, the sound that the engine makes, snarling, that is onomatopoeia. We can drive through this water, I thought. We were tilting in the sense they were slanting, tilting from side to side, the water rising now, filling the jeep. It came up to our chests. In the beginning, the water was up to their knees, but now it's up to their chest. So she is narrating the situation very accurately. Steve and I lifted the boys as high as we could. Steve held Wick. I held Mal, their faces above the water, the tops of their heads pressing against the jeep's canvas hood. Our hands tight under their armpits. The jeep rocked. It was floating. The wheels no longer gripped the ground. That is also alliteration. The wheels no longer gripped the ground. That means that the jeep's wheels was not anymore on the ground. The jeep was floating on land. You're right, yes. There is connotation here also. Now, for example, you look at words like slanting, tilting. Those are all connotations that give you the feeling that the jeep is unsteady. The emotion you get from those words make you understand that the jeep is now unsteady. The jeep's wheels was no longer gripping the ground. We kept steadying ourselves on the seats, apologies. No one spoke. No one uttered a sound. Again, they are silent. Am I underwater? Another rhetorical question. Am I underwater? It didn't feel like water, but it has to be. I thought I was being dragged along. My body was being whipped back and forward. That part, right? It will be read through this part right here. Then I saw Steve's face. I'd never seen him like that before. A sudden look of terror, eyes wide open, mouth agape, mouth also open. Eyes wide open, mouth agape. Now, Steve is terrified. Steve is afraid. But what is Steve afraid of? Even Sonali has no idea. And this is the last time I believe she has seen Steve. A sudden look of terror, eyes wide open, mouth agape. He saw something behind me that I couldn't see. I didn't have time to turn around and look because it turned over. The jeep turned over. On my side, the jeep turned over. That is a powerful part of the prose that gives us a clear visual imagery, and that shows us fear, right? In her tone, there's fear because it turned over. The jeep turned over on my side. Pain. That was all I could feel. Where am I? Something was crushing my chest. Am I trapped under the jeep? I thought. I am being flattened. Am I being flattened by it? I tried to push it away. I wanted to wiggle. Wiggle means like get out of the jeep. Wiggle out of the jeep. I wanted to wiggle out, but it was too heavy. Whatever was on me, the pain unrelentingly in my chest, not stopping, non-stop. Unrelentingly, non-stop, the pain was in my chest. I wasn't stuck under anything. I was moving, I could tell now. My body was curled up. I was spinning fast. Am I underwater? It didn't feel like water, but it has to be. I thought I was being dragged alone and my body was whipping backwards and forwards. I couldn't stop myself when at times my eyes opened. I couldn't see water. Smoky and gray. Again, remember, smoky is another color actually. The color of smoke, ash color, right? And by the way, these are all unpleasant colors, right? Smoky, gray, these are unpleasant colors. Can she clearly see what's going to happen to her? Smoky and gray. Can she clearly see what's going to happen to her? No, even she doesn't know what is going to happen to her. Even she has no idea what's going to happen to her. That's suspense, man. That's suspense. That is the end of the wave. There is a bit more to explain about the wave, right? We'll quickly go through them, and no, don't worry. I can send you the tunes and the analysis through WhatsApp. So hopefully once the session is over, we can have a small question and answering session, and afterwards we can continue. We can yes, I will show you my Photoshop also, don't worry. And we can continue with the I mean, we can conclude the session. Remember, the word you need to use to explain the wave is memoir, right? Memoir is a kind of story that evokes memory. So wave is a memoir, not a memoir. It's pronounced memoir, okay? The wave is a memoir heavily fueled with a mix of emotions and undying love. Obviously, the narrator has never lost her love for her kids, her parents, her husband. The love still lives with her, and the love that she had for her husband and her kids will always live inside the wave. And yes, we have our session at 7:30. We will never skip a session. The story is written in the first person perspective, I told you. That means pronouns like I, my, mine, myself, they are used. The narrator is talking about themselves. The narrator is inside the story, and the narrator is the protagonist of the story. The story is a brief flashback of the incidents that took place during the 2004 tsunami. The plot consists of the protagonist and her family, her loved ones attempting to flee from the unforgiving wave. The writing alternates between the present tense and the past tense, indicating that the narrator is trapped between memories and reality. True story. This is Sonali and her kids and her husband. These are the pictures that you need to remember, but don't make this an essay about Sonali Deraniyagala. We are writing about the wave, right? And some people were not even born during 2004, I believe. I was very young. I was little. I was born in 1996, so I was very little. So some of you were not even born during 2004. Right. And then here's a part where you should do by yourself. Insert a memory of yours where you lost someone or when someone rejected you. Insert a memory of yours which will make the story a lot more relatable to you. You will feel a lot more close to the story, which will help you write a successful analysis. The title of the story itself contains a literary device, and you know it is not the tsunami. It's not the tsunami, the destruction of the tsunami. No, it's wave. The title undercuts the intensity of the tsunami. Instead of using the word tsunami, wave is used. This is called euphemism. That means the devastating effect is undercut. An unpleasant thing is covered through a pleasant idea that is known as euphemism. In Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree, there was euphemism, right? Euphemism was found in Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree. Maurice amongst the hay lies still. My knife is by his side. The blood has not yet dried. In that example, the narrator doesn't say that he killed Maurice. No, Maurice lies amongst the hay still, but my knife is by his side. He doesn't use the word murder. He doesn't use the word I killed Maurice. He uses euphemism, indirectly saying something. One moment, I'm lagging, I believe. Right, you can find, I believe I'm okay now. You can find euphemism, the meaning of euphemism in this presentation. The writer, you can mention this in your analysis. The writer is essentially reliving the gruesome incident. When the writing is analyzed, it is clear that the writer attempts to exorcise her demons. She's trying to chase away her demons. She's trying to forget her past. She's exercising her demons. Not exercising. Exercising means she's chasing away her demons. Her past. She, yeah, that's, I know and I understand. Like, I understand a lot of you might have lost many people. Sometimes your parents. Now, I lost my parents when I was 17. Now, some of you might have lost a parent when you were very young. Some of you might not even remember your parents. So I understand that there are relatable stories that we can derive out of our lives and we can resonate them with the wave. Even though it might be tough, even though they might be hard for you to realize, even though they might be hard for you to understand or feel, remember, by implementing them into literature, it will undercut the pain immensely, right? And like I said, even my personal experience, from my personal experience, I can tell you, whenever I resonate my life with literature, I am not depressed. I am not plagued by the past. It is a lot more easier for me to forget the past and move forward. And for some reason, if you are having problems forgetting your past, turn to literature. Literature will never let you down. Yeah, and I understand some people have even lost your family members during the tsunami. Like, some people have actually lost some of your family members during the tsunami. I had a friend, he lost his sister to the tsunami. So like I said, a lot of people can derive something out of their life, not only for the wave, for all of the literary work, for all of the poems, prose, and novels. If you are able to take something out of your life and make it relatable, make it your story, literature will be such a fun, such a positive, a life-changing subject, and it will not be hard for you to get an A for your examination. Yeah, I was there during the tsunami, but I was not. I was born during the tsunami, but I was in Colombo, so Colombo was not affected by the tsunami. Sadly, some people I knew was affected by the tsunami, but I myself was fortunate enough not to travel to the south. So I was in Colombo, and Colombo was not affected by the tsunami at all. So as she attempts to bury her memories between thin pages, she has intentionally or unintentionally left behind a lexical masterpiece. What's a lexical masterpiece? Now, a masterpiece is a work of art. Okay? A masterpiece is a work of art. The text is another word for lexical. So lexical means using words. So this is a work of art with words, using words. The best example is, yeah, thank you so much, Fatima. This is an awesome phrase you can use actually in your analysis. It's a lexical masterpiece. Right. Then there is a notable genius of writing. Now, for example, it was only the white curl of a big wave. White is a symbol of something uneasy, something that is unsettling, right? Something that is disturbing. The examples I showed you here, quite disturbing, right? So these are the genius of Sonali. And by the way, in Asian countries, women usually wear white when they are widowed. So white can be used as a supplement to show that Sonali is about to become a widow. She's about to lose her husband. White is a color that reminds us about that also. This is not a coincidence. Sonali has used this word on purpose. Right. And then the device is known as foreshadowing when we are told about recent events. Apologies, when we are reminded about events that will happen very soon. That's called foreshadowing. And you know that salvation arrives in the form of a jeep, but the jeep is actually a symbol. Okay, the jeep is actually a symbol of life. Apart from that, there was no flash forwarding was not used in this text. Okay, in the way we don't see flash forwarding, so you can negate that part. But flash forwarding is found in the vendor of sweets. No, flash forwarding is when the story is stopped and you are taken forward. When the story is stopped and the plot is moved forward, like you're fast forwarding. Flash forward is like you're fast forwarding, like you're watching a video on YouTube. Without watching one part, you skip that part. That's called flash forwarding. Foreshadowing is when we are hinted upon the future. Foreshadowing is when we are given a hint about the future. Flash forwarding is when the story jumps forward. Flash forward. Foreshadowing is we are given an idea about the future. We don't jump forward. We are just given an idea. The plot will progress as usual. But flash forwarding means the plot will be fast forwarded. The plot will move forward at once. Right. And you know what allusion is, right? You will understand this better when you read the presentation actually. Right. There's another extract that contains alliteration. I told you alliteration is when you find adjacent words beginning with the same sound. Then obviously I mentioned allusion, right? And then we have personification, right? When you're giving human qualities to non-human things. But again, even though it's mentioned as personification in the teacher's guide, I don't accept as that it is a personification, because not only humans, right? Even animals can leap, even animals can jump. But here, the waves leaping in your teacher's guide is known as personification. Personification is when human qualities are given to non-human things. Yeah, in the eagle also we found personification. He clasped the crag with crooked hands. That is a clear personification, because the eagle is given the masculine pronoun given to humans. Furthermore, there is repetition, brown and gray, brown or gray. So when we use repetition, we understand that there are two effects created. One, there is urgency, and then there is importance. Symbolism was also used. Brown is a symbol of home, grounding, stability, the earth. Gray is a symbol of emotionlessness and heartlessness. So Sonali is a mix of both of them. Then when considering her children, she wants to protect them. She wants to be their caretaker. She wants to save them. But when considering her parents and other people, Beulah most importantly, and Anton, she is heartless. She is emotionless. That's fine. You can understand this if you read this one more time. And then there is apart from the Titanic that I have mentioned here, do you remember the situation between Anton and Beulah? When Beulah falls down, Anton also jumps after her. So there is this cliche where in the Titanic, the main actress says, the lead heroine says, if you jump, I jump, right? That means if something bad happens to you, something bad will happen to me, should happen to me also. The peculiar love story between Anton and Beulah, some may view Anton's love as foolish, and some may view his love as heroic. Nevertheless, there is no, and by the way, Beulah is spelled wrong here. You should make that right. I will correct that also. However, some might think that Anton is a fool. Anton's actions are foolish, but I believe he is a heroic person. He is a person who is madly in love with his wife, and he does not want to leave her stranded. Such an honorable thing to do. Finally, the safari jeep and its driver are a symbol of life. No matter who falls off life, no matter who leaves you, no matter who says goodbye, your life should continue. Time will continue. That is the lesson that you can get from The Wave by Sonali Deraniyagala. There are some cliches. Cliches are overused pieces of advice. Richard Corey, money does not equal happiness. Richard Corey. In The Wave, life is uncertain. Life stops for no one. Death is inevitable. Death is indifferent. Anyone can die. Death can happen to anyone, and you cannot prevent death. Those are the cliches, the lessons you can learn from The Wave. Remember, you are not immortal. Death will come someday. Hopefully, it comes very late. Hopefully, it comes after 100 years, 80, 90 years. I'll be happy. But for some reason, if you are unable to prevent death, remember, you are not immortal. You also need to face death. Sometimes you might be the person who faces death. Sometimes someone close to you might face death. But I hope you have to never face something like that in your life. Hopefully, you pass away when you are 90, 100 years of age. I purely hope that. Right. By the way, there's a question. Is connotation and mood the same? No, they are not the same, but the effect is same. Connotation and mood are different things, but the effect we get is the same, right? So connotation is the emotion we get when we listen to a word. Mood is the emotion we get when we read it, when we read the text. Right. So the tone or the attitude is that when you close your eyes and you think about what happened, what kind of emotion do you get? Do you feel happy? Do you feel sad? Do you feel concerned? So that is the tone that the writer is emphasizing. So the tone is urgency, wanting to quickly flee, uncertainty, not sure what they are fleeing from, guilt for leaving behind her parents, fear of losing her family and life, unconditional love for Sonali's children and husband, nostalgic, reminds Sonali of her past, regret for not being able to make an impact, for not being able to create, solve the problem, the tone. But what is the and these are the tones given in the teacher's guide. My tones are a lot more better. If you write these tones, you can get a better grading compared to the tones given in the teacher's guide. Finally, the moral is leave behind those who have left, forget those who were unfortunate. That's what you can learn from this, the lesson. How is the mood set, right? What does the reader feel when reading the text? Obviously, you feel sympathy and you feel empathy. You feel sorry for Sonali and you feel as if the sadness has happened to you. You feel empathy. Well done. Memorize this word. You can use this word in your analysis. Right. And then we have some context questions that you can answer. Even if you have taken part in today's seminar, you can send me the answers of these context questions. So it's like this. We have to cut our session from here. I believe you might have questions, okay? But I will not take more time to ask you to give you the time to ask me questions, right? Rather, I will share my WhatsApp number with you. For some reason, if you don't have, one moment, let me share the screen again. For some reason, if you don't have my WhatsApp number, you can definitely send me a message through this number. You can ask me any doubts you have. You can ask me questions regarding the wave. You can ask me for the tune, by the way. Yes, one moment. Yeah, thank you so much for your positive feedback. Sometimes it takes a bit more time than I expected. I thought to finish this by 4 o'clock, but sadly we have not enough time. There will also be a seminar on Tuesday, this Tuesday. So if you have sent me a message through WhatsApp, I can send you the artwork. You can share the artwork with your friend. There will be a seminar regarding farewell to barn and stack and tree. That seminar will be a bit more longer than this. We'll have a longer break between that seminar, in that seminar, and we will be doing an analysis also. I will be sharing the wave analysis with you and the presentation. If you can send me a message to 077 963 9434, mention the wave webinar, mention wave webinar, and also mention your school, your grade, your year of examination, and mention what you want from me. I will share the artwork regarding the next seminar that we have on Tuesday. It's going to be in the evening, actually. So then, hopefully, all of you have an extraordinary day. Those of you who have joined my class already, I will see you today at 7:30. We'll be writing an analysis for the farewell to barn and stack and tree. Apart from that, we'll be doing the reading session for the Lahore attack. And finally, for grade 11, we'll be completing the Nightingale and the Rose. Yes, and someone keeps on asking me, no issue at all. This is Photoshop, by the way. And make sure you do your homework, or you do your the given context questions also. And this right here is the arsenal that I use. So we have Photoshop, we have Premiere Pro, we have Illustrator. So this right here, everyone needs Photoshop, by the way. Because this is what I use to make my artwork, to make my presentations. I don't have to rely on online templates because I cannot change online templates like I want it to. So that's why I make everything from scratch. You cannot find my presentations online. These are authentic. These are unique. These are one of a kind. This is how Photoshop looks. It's not that interesting. You have to get a bit of you have to be a bit of what's it called, inclined. You have to learn a bit about Photoshop, then it will be very easy for you. So this is the original picture I got for Beulah falling off of the beach, off of the jeep. So I believe you might have various questions. Regarding Sonali Deraniyagala's wave, right? But as I said, if you have any questions, if you have any inquiries regarding literature, please send me a message, and I shall see you when I see you, hopefully on Tuesday, hopefully today in the evening. Take care, everyone. All the best and have an extraordinary weekend.